welcome
was
to the Grow
fancy.
Show Live. It was kind of, yeah, man. There you go.
I knew it was going to happen, and then it happened just like that.
Yeah, there
Oh
we go.
yeah.
And then here we are.
And there we were.
Whoa.
And here we went.
Welcome. What's
Welcome.
up, chat?
Cheers.
Cheers, chat. Join us in the old live chat, not the old chop chat.
Chop chat,
Chop chat.
chop shake.
That chop chat. I'll
We're gonna
get
get
you.
that
the chop chat.
wagyu.
This chat. How about this chat?
Live
Wow.
chat.
Be there or
Damn,
be square.
Skilbo is quick.
I'm fast, baby. I'm fast. I need the sound effects, Bake. One time. Ready?
Pew, pew, pew.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, that was like right in time.
Because it's baked, and he's,
He's the
all
man.
things to all people, man.
Got some cake
I
and
want to
punch
say,
here
ooh, you want
from
to
Red and Becca. Oh, I know. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna fuck it up.
Let's do it. Let's see what you can
Yep,
do with
get
it.
it on there.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh
Jake, I want
man,
to give you a shout out for your Instagram at Baked Pone. You have been putting up some really, really nice butt shots.
Maybe I need to clean my camera.
grow some fire stuff,
One of
dude.
them was this. I think one of Bake's butt shots
Oh!
was this right here.
Oh,
Oh, was that? Did you have?
do it. Come closer, my son. Come closer to the light.
Oh,
There you are. Oh, you got it, dude. Oh,
Look at
you
this
got
guy.
it.
Go.
This stuff, I love this stuff. You crack it
Wow.
open. I don't know. My buddy was saying it's wedding pie and Cushman's is all, and I was like,
The
Oh,
ratio of the amount of time you spent looking for the focus versus the amount of time you showed it once it was actually in focus was really fucked
Right.
up. Just
yeah. So it's more like, all right, I got that. Sweet.
I got it. 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You better screenshot it.
Got
It's
it.
recorded.
I got to give Baked major props. Baked and Porch Farmer helped me change the fuel pump in my truck today.
Yeah.
We took the whole bed of the truck off with our big grown man muscles, and then we sat it on the ground, and then we changed the fuel pump perfectly with no problems.
Yeah.
Put that shit back together. Runs perfect. Fuel gauge works. Everything
Hell
works
yeah,
perfect.
bro. Fuel gauge working
Yep.
too.
Yep, everything works
know what? I
perfect.
wanna give
So,
No,
Big
no,
shout
no
out.
broken bolts.
no
Bake,
broken
I want to give you a
bolts,
shout
no.
out because you made the show, even though you did some serious physical labor of hauling around half a truck today, man. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
He was
I was
down there
gonna do
laying on the
electrical
ground,
and
wrenching on
skip the
stuff too.
show, but electrician didn't show up, so I got some garden work done that's been on my mind, and I was like, I'm hopping on the show. What
Right.
else is there to do Sunday nights?
Thank you for joining us. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure
thank you for
hanging
letting
out
us
with
be
you during
the
the day.
seventh thing that you want to do. There's nothing else to do. The seventh thing must be let's watch the Grow Show live or participate.
right.
Right? Speaking of Baked, I want to give a shout out to everybody besides Baked that made it to yesterday's Wake and Bake with the Growskis. That was a good one, and it is a first for the show. We had our first triple tour.
Triple tour, garden tour.
What?
Triple tour. Yeah, man.
So Painted Lady showed our tour, right? And then
He did. It was
who
beautiful.
else did the tour?
Porch and
Porch
Tara.
Farmer did a
Porch
tour.
Night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
to get on
Sequence, we
there
didn't get a
and
chance
do a
to
tour.
really talk about any of the plants that you have going in there, but we sure got to see them, man. And they are
Sure.
great color green. Do you want to talk on those for a minute?
Sure. It's just 100% cocoa in these containers. I don't even know how big they are. They're like 3-gallon containers or something like that.
Ones.
Huh?
Ones.
They're ones. Okay, 1-gallon containers. Containers of whatever size. 100% cocoa. Jack's 321. No pH. Just water them when they need it. I haven't started watering them every day yet. But I got pumps and timers ready for when they need watered more than once per day. So we'll see how it goes. They need transplanted again sometime soon here. Letting the other ones catch up to them a little bit. Topped them. Some of them I femmed just to see what would happen.
Oh, dude, that one is going to be great where you got it. And I was saying when we seen it yesterday, I was really glad to see that because instead of doing what I used to do, which is to grow a plant up before I started to grow it out.
Mhm.
And you think, well, you're going to cut all that shit off anyway. But the thing is, doing that early on like that really can help establish a plant that you want to have multiple tops on and
For sure.
grow arms rather than just one main stem.
When you look at a plant, the ones that really seem to yield the best is when they have that when you top them kind of early, because they have the two main trunks, they're really the whole plant instead of one that goes really high up that splits right way high at the top where you finally topped it because you're like, oh shit, I forgot, and now it's taller than all the rest of them or whatever. It's always the ones that you top early that really yield well and they branch out good, and so I try to remember that. And these ones are all doing really really good. Now the key is not forgetting the other ones. Bring top those once they're the right size, because that's usually what I do. Just get them all mistimed and
Miss time. That's because that's what I do, right?
yeah.
Oh, fuck me.
I'll usually grow them 5 nodes high and then I'll top them, and then but I don't so much count them as try to.
Do you
make
top them like right at the top, or do you like go a couple nodes down when you do that topping? Do you just top at the top at that 5 nodes?
I usually will go down like 1 node.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay.
I think that what it does, and I'm no plant scientist, you guys are mostly all here better growers than me, but what I think happens is your roots grow to a certain size, right, to grow that big of a plant, and then you cut off, maybe 10% of it, so you have more roots than plants. So then I think it helps make it a little bit bushier, helps it recover.
Yeah, when you do a deep top, I think just like you, I don't have a white paper to refer to, but when I do a deep topping, it seems to spread out better than if you just do a real small one.
For sure. And I'm a huge proponent of like letting it grow a little bit and then just topping it. Don't like let it grow 3 millimeters and then try to top it and fuck it all up. Just let it grow a little bit and get a nice clean cut. And,
I agree too.
You get a lot
I see a lot of people go pretty early.
Plants. With that, I have Baked Chernobyl here in a extract form. I'm going to dab that to kick off the show. I want to thank Baked for gifting me some of that while he was helping me work on my truck. So the double gift today.
For sure. Like he fixed your
No
truck
problem.
and gave you the fucking
And brought the
Dude,
smile.
I'm so glad to
Dude,
be able to give out
backwards, man.
dabs. And for Growly, shout out to him. He made them so fast and their quality is hell. There's
believe
radioactive
how
papers
fast.
holding up.
That surprised me how fast he got that done, man.
Well, he
fast.
ran it the next day that he got it, and it was 4 days later we were able to meet up, and that was just because we met. That's when we scheduled our meetup. But
Talk about fresh. You basically got dabs back faster than you would have been able to get a dry flower if you had hung to dry it.
you're
That's what I
absolutely
was
right.
saying, dude.
That's super cool.
You
Yep.
couldn't dry it and cure it faster than that.
Yeah,
sure.
which is
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. That's fucking amazing, man.
Yeah, so he took. So I had enough to run Chernobyl, and then he took a half a
Garlic
tube
poison?
and mixed it with the garlic poison. So we called it radioactive, and
it's
I
garlic
think
poison.
I like that one better, almost than the straight Chernobyl. Just it's such a good mix and a
I haven't
high like.
tried the mixed one yet, but I did dab the Chernobyl before the show, and I will say that I love that lemon or that lime flavor it's got.
Yeah,
Awesome
it's
that you got
does it
that
re-
one.
Do you remember Citrique? Does it remind you of that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
see,
yeah.
Red had
Yeah.
Citrique, and I smelled a bucket of that, and to me, Citrique and Chernobyl are very similar.
Shout out to Red and Becca on that Citrique.
Yep.
I love the
What
Citrique.
is the PM on this?
Powdery mildew.
That bud that I was showing up here, that big honker. With the whole
Pineapple mousse.
Powdery mildew, she said.
Yeah,
it was,
It was
baked powdery
super-
no
milk.
powdery mildew on
Nice,
it, but it's
nice.
pineapple
Powdery milk.
mousse. Skunk
Powdery-
House Genetics.
Can you kind of see that? I don't know.
Pineapple mildew.
He had a good focus earlier, but that one's pretty good. It's like a tropical than gas, and that's why I like that one better than number one.
We are rolling it up now.
Susan asked us a question. You guys want to cover this? You butt chuggers?
Big chugging. We just butt chugged our seedlings today.
Basically, can you wick cocoa from the
Yes.
bottom?
Yes,
Yeah.
or if you're doing an organic blend, yes. I wouldn't recommend it in a synthetic blend because salts will dry because of evaporation. So it'll wick it up all the way to the top and evaporate off the top and leave the salts behind. And then you'll get this fucking salt layer on the top. And if you ever do any kind of watering from the top, that salt's going to dissolve right in your water and it's going to burn the fuck out of your plants. So I wouldn't recommend a synthetically fed bottom water cocoa, but you can absolutely do it. I've done it. So yeah, you can absolutely do it organically.
It's a great answer because you do not want the salts depositing in the top of your media over and over and over again. Your plant will just slowly kill itself.
Promise you,
It'll
it's
live
not
long enough
beneficial
until you
mycelium,
literally
right?
salt the soil and then the plant dies.
Yeah, it doesn't. You think it's beneficial mycelium, but it's really not. It's just salt buildup.
You can flood some what are they, rock wools? You can flood those all day, flood and drain those.
I've never fucked with Rockwell too much. I never liked them. I always felt like they held too much water.
Yeah, I've never used them. I just remember the old flood and drain tables people used to do.
Yeah.
But
I
they
like
don't
that,
really do them anymore.
Vader does it still. I think I liked his system with the. I think he did 100% cocoa and he just flood them.
Oh, that's dope. But he
Gromos
does it get
had those
over?
huge
Does it
ones.
like get over the top of the pod or whatever it is?
No, it only goes about
Oh.
halfway up the pot.
So he's
No, you're
essentially wicking.
Yeah, so he
So
just
there
never
is.
does
So you
top
could
water.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can never. Basically, you can never top water.
Yeah. And I always felt like the flood and drain is just like excessive water use. There's no way you're definitely wasting.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
you have to
You mean
like
drain to waste, or you mean using a res?
It all
Like,
drains.
like,
It all
like
doesn't
imagine
drain
having
away.
imagine
drains
having
to
a
a
4x8
It
table
drains to
and
a
they just
res,
flood
but
it
yeah.
and then they
Right.
unplug it and let it drain out.
No, but it drains back to a
Eventually,
res,
yeah.
and then it gets circulated back up for the next feeding. You use it all. It's almost like a
Right.
RDWC, except for it's not running the whole time.
But my thought on that
With
is
cocoa,
my thought on that is always like if
that'd
you're
be dirty as
we were
hell.
talking about evaporation, and then the plant's also using some of the minerals. So your feed numbers are going to be off day to day. You're either going to have to continuously be adding like perfect amounts of feed. I don't know. Maybe you have a meter or something that tells you what you need, but you're not going to know like what minerals are deficient in what amounts, right? And then you would have to apply your minerals accordingly. That's kind of always my thought, is that what's remaining in the tank is going to have to like get replaced, or else your numbers are going to be off. Like, I mean, 60 days worth of the plant feeding and you replenishing nutrients without replacing and starting from square one. I mean, your numbers are going to get wonky.
Yeah, but you just change your res.
Exactly, which is wasteful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm a big proponent
I-
of watering from the top synthetically.
Yeah.
I can't
I just think
way
you're
more
gonna trench
positive,
them.
doing it that way. So I would definitely recommend doing it that way. But hey, if you
Yeah.
can make it work your way or any other way, do it however you want.
Well, I'm just saying environmentally, flood and drain, you're gonna put in like, I don't know, 10 gallons, you're gonna probably drain 9. Whereas if you're watering from the top, you're at least aiming for 10 to 20% runoff. So you
I'm
actually
with
know
you.
how much.
Eventually,
is
you're going to
coming
throw
through.
away the extra water.
Yeah, I
at
feel
some
like
point.
I feel like that's a little old school, but people still do it with success. So
We do drip to waste with no waste.
I guess check out Vader. Check out Vader, Susan.
we do,
Vader's grow setup.
we do top feed, no runoff.
Yeah, you could. What's your PPM when you do that?
In our res, like 1.2 EC.
Okay, so what's that? That's like 600 ppm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see, that's exactly what I was getting at. Is we found at work you can do that, but you just can't do that with the high ppm nutrient lines like Athena, which is 1500 ppm. If you try to not run off, you'll lock it out within a couple days.
Exactly. That's why
yeah.
you lower your number and don't do it.
Yeah,
It's still going to build up in the root zone anyway. I mean, it's
yeah, but if you're doing like 600 ppm, the plant can eat most of that. So that's I
yeah,
like
we
that.
fertigate every 3 hours.
Okay, yeah.
So could we put more into it? Probably. I mean, we get burning, so I'd rather not. Could we? I don't know. Change a couple of variables, maybe, but there would be more waste. We could add more off and then crank up the EC a little bit, but then we would be dumping more material down the toilet, and then we'd also be using more fertilizer. So
But if you're getting burning with 600 ppm,
I
that's
mean,
when I would run off to flush it out because that
I-
means it has built
I have
up
a
a good
I don't
bit.
question
get-
about the
I don't get
flooding.
burning at 600 ppm. That's why.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. That's why you went to that. Yeah. 'Cause I only run like 800, 900 at most here at
We
the
could go
house, and
higher.
people are like, "Oh, my can is 1100."
We could
I'm
go,
like, I have no issues feeding.
we could go higher. I choose not to go higher because I don't feel like the plants need to like be boosted.
Hey, I have a question about the flooding that you guys were talking about, though. Like, I don't use salts or anything, but if you're using salts in the water, and wouldn't that make it way different? Like the parts that have adapted to the salts because it's not having time to like fully mix if you're just like watering it like that. Like, wouldn't it way different? So something would stay in because it's a little bit heavier if it has the salt attached to it. Like, does water way different when you add nutrients? So if you flood it, then the lightest stuff would be thrown out first, and it would be uneven watering.
Cheers,
flooding.
anything grows.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know how that works once it's mixed up.
Oh yeah, that's what I think Red was kind of getting at. It's just kind of chaos when I feel like when you flood it, you don't know what's coming in, what's going out, or at least you're not controlling it.
Well, after that first feed, you don't. Once
So
that,
Yeah.
it's not like a way to like to use regularly. Flooding them is not like a regular way of watering typically.
People do it. People do
Oh, it
it.
is
Like
for some
Vader,
people,
Spartan
yeah,
was
it's a
saying
strategy.
Vader does it. I've never done it, but I know people do it. It's called flood and drain. And you just
Is Vader doing it with salts, or is he
Yes.
in? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah. So that's what I was saying. You'd have to. I'm sure he's got some YouTube these days, but
I'm sure
check
he's
out his
changed out.
setup.
I'm sure he's changing up those reservoirs pretty often and doing the dance.
Well, I know a lot of the Hydro guys these
Usually you
days. They
don't do
also
it
have
more than
the.
7 days. Usually you change them like 5 to 7 days.
right.
Well, you can get
And I think that
reclaim
makes sense though,
filters.
because
Of course,
as we think about what the plants are doing is, let's say that we went in with like a 555. We didn't, but let's say 555. So in the first, say 3 or 4 days, now it gets down where it's off, and you've got 5, 2, 1. So now for the next few days, you know what I mean? You're actually feeding a 5, 2, 1 rather than a 555. I know
And
that's
then
an
you got a
oversimplification.
well, exactly.
and then
Yeah,
you're
but
at
that's-
5.5, and you're actually at a 9.48. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting.
Yeah, and you don't know any of that's going on unless you're grinding up the soil and testing it or something.
Or to
That's why
remedy
the-
or to
That's
remedy
why
it.
the idea of cocoa is you just flood it with a known. And I know
Yeah.
it's wasteful. I know it's wasteful for water, but you flood it with a known. So you mix a known. Okay, I know this is good. I'm just gonna fucking push everything out of that fucking pot and leave behind my known fucking thing.
That's what I love about
you saying
cocoa.
20% runoff.
Yeah,
But then if you do that runoff into the reservoir and you're reusing that
that's
water,
what I'm
No,
saying.
you're not.
You wouldn't be able to do. Oh, okay. I thought that's what you said too, Spar. I was like, because that's what Red was saying. If you reuse that water, it's not the same ppm, so it's gonna
Correct. It's
be all
shifted.
crazy.
that
But
And your
Yeah.
pH drifts around too.
But that's what Vader was doing with his flood and drain. It would just drain into a res and he'd reuse it.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know
like a
how
4-gallon res.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I mean, it's Vader OG on YouTube. He's a long running. He's always
Yeah.
running pretty good
He's
stuff.
got every video.
I understand the process works. Like I said, I've seen it work a million times.
But yeah, it is wasteful because, like you're saying, the res changes is wasteful.
We don't.
so-
What I'm saying is, if it's working for him, he's clearly changing his res, or else he'd be running into these issues like we're talking about.
Right.
There's no way around that he wouldn't.
Well, there's that. Or they got now. Some of the Hydro guys are running reclaim filters.
I don't know what he's using these days,
it's
but I know
essentially
he
an
was.
RO filter, and they
he
just
was
give
using
the shit
Canna,
back and clean it
paint.
again. Huh?
I said he was using Canna for years. He was the one that I learned
Oh,
how to
true.
use
Yeah.
Canna with. Was him from like the Rhizotonic and all that other
I think
shit.
he's still using it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
used
li-
it
I
for
like
years
Canna.
then.
I wish they'd come out with a dry or
Sorry.
something, but
no, that's okay. So you could cycle that water though, like if you ran it through an RO system, like the
you ran it back through an RO. Yeah, it just
and then you could just use that
In your
again.
bladder.
it's just like, all right, so let's say you're watering your house. Like my house water is 350 ppm. I gotta filter that through RO to make it 0 or close to 0. So I filter that, and then I make it 900 ppms. I run that off. Let's say my runoff is lower because the plant's eating, so it's like 800, 700. Now I'm shooting 700 through an RO system instead of 350. So it's twice as much particles for that filter to filter. So you're just going to run through filters more, quicker. But you
Running your
can do it
bladder out.
absolutely. An RO filter will filter the dirtiest of waters.
It's
And
just
if you
not
get
cheap.
if you really want to go big, go get an RODI. But I don't think you're supposed to use that with plants. But that's what they use for fish, and that makes it like really clean. But yeah, you
What
can
would you do with
keep
the
shoving it
leftover
back.
water aside from just draining it then? Like if you don't want to dump it, you can still use it. Like even though it's been treated with nutrients, could you still use it for your plants in the house? Like not
Yes.
cannabis.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot. As long as you know your nutrients are good, not like heavy metal ridden and stuff. Yeah, you could go throw that in your garden or something, especially
Okay, so
flowers.
doing that, if you know what you're doing, then it's not necessarily like a waste to do
Yeah,
it that way.
there's ways around it. I'm just speaking of like I'm talking like 2005 when guys were not giving a fuck and they were dumping that shit straight into the drain. And so
Yeah.
like they're flooding a table with 20
Exactly.
gallons every night and dumping it down the drain. Yeah.
Yeah, drain to
And of
waste.
course they're getting good results, but they just used through a 3-month period they used God knows how many gallons. That's what I don't know how they do it these days. If it, like Vader, if he's still doing it, I'm sure they've, finessed their techniques.
I have a dum-dums question about RO systems. So there's got to be like larger RO units, right? You can
Oh, yeah.
okay. And so the small units are really pricey, and the bladders are what gets you for them to replace those diaphragms.
It's actually, well, it's usually most of the time your
Right.
filters.
So I
Even-
can only imagine what
What is,
a large scale production facility, what the filters must be for a system like that.
I'll go tomorrow and if I remember, I'll
Yeah,
snap
man.
a pic because the
Fuck yeah.
Hans just opens up and it's
Right.
essentially a giant RO filter. It's got 6 3 or 4 foot tall filters
Wow.
and then some other shit in there, but they're
I've
all in
never
a
seen one of
line.
that.
And yeah, they're just huge. And I can show you. I think it's just a big RO system that has a big pump.
It's
Yeah,
fast to sell.
commercially, you do what
Yeah.
everyone else does, Skilbo. You just rent it and then have
Yeah,
someone
and
else
we
service
lease it.
Lease it,
So
exactly.
as soon as the PPMs hit a level we don't like, we call them and they come out, or they come out regularly, but usually we call them to come out. I don't know.
Cost
Earlier.
of doing business, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody else takes care of it. Somebody else has the upfront cost.
We had issues in the beginning. There's definitely kinks to work out. We didn't have to pay a plumber to come fuck with them. The Hans guys came and had to fix their unit because they
Yep.
came and put it in. So it's nice in that manner. But yeah, and even before that, before I got there, Spartan, you'll know, there's those RO filters that are like 2.5 feet and they're like
Drums.
almost a half foot wide filters. They're basically same thing as your house, but just oversized. I'm gonna see if
Yeah.
I can snag one from the boss.
There you
But
go.
he
They're
said,
made by Growonics,
good.
Growonics.
Growonics or something. I'm looking for it, but I can't
Um,
see a big one. I'm trying.
Does Han make a small unit for like under sink at a home user's level as well?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not right now. I don't think so. The smallest thing I've seen, and I'm not sure it was an actual whole unit, was at Hydro Capital in Jackson. They had like it was like a 2 filter. So when I opened the Hans at work, there's 6 filters, 3 on each side. This was like 2. And it was just in the aisle, and I guess they're a rep of Hans, but maybe I can go ask them. But I remember when we were talking about it last on one of the shows, I was looking on their website, which isn't very good. And
You can't recommend it, right?
well, I couldn't find like sizes and stuff. It was more of one of those call us and talk to a sales guy.
No. You're not getting
But-
my email,
Gilbo,
friend.
Let me share this website real quick. I'll
Gilbo,
show
if you want to look at like a home level one that you can lease, maybe like a Culligan system.
Culligan,
would be-
man, for sure.
They do RO and you can lease it and have it at home and all that stuff too.
So there's
That's a great call sequence.
that's commercial.
Holy shit, that's a
So
fucking.
they're probably
contraption.
trying to compete with Hans there. Here we go. So this is
Here
what
we
I was
go.
saying. This is kind
There
of
we
what they
go,
kind of
yeah.
had at work,
Yeah, that's
but
what
they're
they had
on
there.
wheels. They had a wheel underneath, so you could.
Yeah, it was
just
kind of like
roll.
the first picture, but a small size like this. Yeah, they were in those carts
Yeah.
like that, but they're
Yeah,
not
like
Nice.
imagine the last thing, but in that. Yep.
Nice.
And then yeah, so that's pretty much yeah. And
That's
here,
some clean
100 to
water.
400 gallon per whatever. But yeah,
I think that's what we have here at the house is the Growonics.
they make the I'd say the medium size. in between home and commercial, slightly into commercial.
I still am just like cheesing over and jealous over Spartan's Berkey that he has, man. That thing is fucking awesome, man.
No,
For
thanks,
like
man.
a small scale thing, man.
I
that's
just like
way.
the whole, like, it doesn't take electricity. You know, I
Right.
mean, yeah, the filters are kind of pricey, but they last for 2 years, man. So I like that. If shit hits the fan, I can go get a bucket, walk
Mhm.
down to the fucking creek, fill that bucket up, and walk home, dump that into my Berkey filter with no power, and have clean drinking water.
You have the largest model that was like $500, right?
I don't even remember, man. It's been so long,
It's
but
probably,
yeah,
it was
something
probably like
that.
$750 now for
I
this.
remember the size. It was it holds 6 gallons.
Yeah,
I think it was.
and it goes pretty quick too. It's not like it's a
Well, it depends on the filters as they age and get clogged.
good. Okay.
I take old toothbrushes. I save an old toothbrush when I replace them, and I keep the old toothbrush and just kind of brush them. It keeps them somewhat clean.
Good
But
stuff.
yeah, once you get closer to the 2-year mark, because it's filtering slow.
Hell yeah. It matters. You know what I used to think was like, we've talked about this and alluded to it in the past, but let's say that we're starting off with water that has a starting ppm of 300. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you may want one of those Berkeys or something, or an RO system, just to get you down to the point where you can put your 750 parts per million of actual nutrients, rather than the difference between your 300 and that 750, which would be 450.
Well, and there's also the factor of like a big thing or a big reason why people use RO is because you can go from facility to facility, your house, your nutrients are the same everywhere because you're always starting at 0. If you're starting at 300 or 20 or 500, and all you got to adjust for all that stuff. So that's one way that you can use people's advice on the internet and stuff like that, is by having
Sure.
a good baseline where you know what you're actually putting into your plants. It's kind of an under appreciated aspect of having that 0 ppm.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
and the chloramine and chlorine. You ain't got time to wait for chlorine to dissipate, and you got chloramine, which won't come out. You
Right.
gotta filter that. But yeah,
You
so
can
I like
Google
that
your
idea.
water for your area as well.
I
you
was
know what
I was
mean?
gonna say,
Local
Skill,
code.
if I were on a well, or even if I just moved to a new place, you can get a city test,
Yeah,
or
you're
just a water test is dirt cheap. You gather some in a tube, you seal it, you send it to the lab, and they
and if
test
you're
it.
on
So
city
let's say
water,
your shit was good for plants. Like let's say your shit was just the NPK of it was perfect.
Right.
I wouldn't fucking RO. I'd just add on to it maybe,
right?
And
Okay.
you can use those
Sequence, what were
tests
you
to
gonna
figure it
say?
out.
I was just gonna say that if you're on a city water source, you can call your city, and they do water tests all the time, and they have to supply you with that information. So
Mhm.
you ask
Yeah,
them, and
I
they'll
get it
do
mailed right to me, but you can go online, I think, and get the results.
Yeah, it's on a
That's how I
PDF
do
of
it
mine
online. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think the area for
if
me
you have
is
a well, I think it's important to get it tested at different times of the year, because the water levels, depending on how deep your well is,
runoff.
your well might get shallow at times. And when it gets shallow, it's going to probably pull way more minerals and be higher ppm than when it's full up in the spring.
Right.
I didn't think of that.
Get
That's
it
a good
tested when
point,
it starts tasting funny.
Yeah, and just how old it gets, like your pump and everything. So over a 5 to 10 years period, definitely it's gonna change. So I would definitely keep up with the testing.
I see that
Stingman is asking if drops of balance is good, and that's what I got from Spartan and use. And I don't have like an RO or anything like that. I just use the drops of balance.
Yeah, that works good. It's a sulfur based. Sulfur, instead of using ions, it's a sulfur based, and it just neutralizes heavy metals. So if you can't filter, it's another cheap way to be safe with your.
I have a question then. If you let your water sit, is that the same as running it through an RO?
No.
But if you let it sit and use drops of balance, then is that like running it through an RO?
Yeah, because it actually grabs onto it, becomes plant insoluble, and it'll precipitate out of the solution.
We'll grab the heavy metals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then letting it sit is for what, chlorine or something in it?
Chlorine will bubble out.
Yeah, but you can look on your local
I wouldn't
website
worry
and tell
about
you
it.
whether they
That's why I
use
thought
chlorine
I
or
wouldn't worry
chlorine
about
as
it.
well.
I wouldn't say drops of balance is after letting it sit is exactly like RO. It just does a part of what RO does.
Yeah, I would say definitely because it actually could add
Better than nothing.
Like
type
I
thing.
mean,
It's
yeah,
gonna add minerals to your water actually.
yeah. Your ppm won't go to 0 is all I
Yeah.
mean. So just I don't want people out there like being like, oh, I'm good, I got 0.
No, yeah, it's not that.
No,
No, not that at
Still
all.
still use a meter if you got one. But
Yeah, and if you have, it's
that's
usually
cool.
called-
That's really neat.
Yeah, it's usually called like background, that's what a lot of people call it, like background ppm. So like if you know that your water say 300 ppms, like the example that was given, that in the fertilizer program you're running is saying, you know, you're in veg and we want you to target 700 ppms, then take 300 off of that. So you know, 7
Yeah.
minus 3.
Now you're at 450 instead, and your
450,
plants may
so-
struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so water at that level and see what the plants do. The plants, if they do struggle, like you know, if they see the yellow, whatever, give them a little bit more. But it gives you a baseline to start at, so you don't go too much. You can
I
just
want to
adjust
give a
it.
shout out to Haas. He mentioned that if you use RO, you will need to add some form of CalMag back into it because that is stripped out during the process.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is all assuming a good nutrient line. And a good nutrient
And
line
all
will have
good nutrients,
CalMag
like a
and
balanced
salts.
breakfast, it has to include CalMag. So says
Yeah,
Sequence.
I drink that for breakfast. So
2 scoops of CalMag in this
Your
race.
300 background might include like a lot of iron or something like that, and it really can be a pain in the ass.
here it's a ton of iron because
Will that lock something out? Be the all that background iron? Can that lock something out in my nutrients as well?
I believe
Possibly,
so, but I
yeah.
can't remember.
I don't know specifically what iron would
Yeah,
do,
there's that
but
one cool chart, and
I'm sure any amount of any.
Probably a Mulder's chart.
The Mulder's
that's
chart.
what it. Thank you. I never can remember the name of that, man. Red's
Do you ever
usually
watch
one
the
that
X Files? Skilbo, did you ever watch the X
dude,
Files?
bingo.
Oh, Scully and Mulder. Okay.
There
See?
you go. That's how I remember it.
I like the way you think, man. Cheers, chat. I'm glad you guys could join us this evening. Please give the show a thumbs up if you haven't already, and switch over from Top Chat to Live to make sure that you stay up to date on all these questions and follow-ups and all that cool shit. And I am high already at 9:33 p.m., so it's starting off on the right foot. Spooky Mulder's chart, Jack. There you go.
I'm high too, man. This pineapple mildew got me going. Or
Pineapple mildew.
Pineapple mildew.
Oh man, I knew I should have written it out.
You trying to give him some credit, Bank.
I'm high.
I want to give a shout out to
Well,
Spartan
we're
because I'm
smoking
smoking
too,
some
actually, over
of
here.
the headlights right now. So well
Nice.
aged, but that is the
Well
headband
aged,
Northern
bro.
Light. Well aged. It's
All right, I got the
tastes
Mulder
same
chart.
though,
I'm
man.
gonna try to share this thing for you guys. I
I'm
can't believe you still.
smoking
How old
that
is that, bro?
pineapple
How old
mildew
would you say that
thing.
is? What, this is the weirdest thing ever.
This is from what?
Yeah, see, all right, maybe I can't figure
probably
this out.
18 months ago, but it's been in the shout out to Sequence for the infinity jars. That's what I hold them in, and I find that it keeps everything exactly the way I put it in there.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
see,
find the
this-
same thing. That's my head stash. Always goes in that jar. He got me. So thank you again for that. Sequence.
The gift that keeps on giving, Sequence.
See,
Oh, yeah,
okay, here's your Mulder's chart.
Gold.
The phosphorus.
So the iron, what it locks out, it's not this line because the arrow's going the wrong way. The arrow's going the wrong way. The only way the arrow's going the other way is here. So iron, too much iron can lock out phosphorus.
Too much
Yeah,
phosphorus
not good.
locks out iron.
Too much phosphorus locks out a lot of shit. Potassium, calcium, iron,
Problems.
zinc,
Copper.
copper, yeah, all
Jeez.
that.
Coincidentally, all of our Bloom NPK are high phosphorus.
You know, when you look at that chart, you realize just how many things could be going wrong with your grow at any given time. And that's not even including any kind of pest pressure or environmentals. That's strictly nutrients, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, I mean, I have that. I didn't have to go look for that. I have that
Get a
saved
bookmark.
on the desktop of my computer. I reference it quite a bit.
Spooky Spartan's Mulder chart.
Yeah, man.
The plant really need potassium more than what we're given. I think potassium is one that's very easily locked out with. Is it-
There's a big group of them like that. phosphorus, potassium, and calcium all seem to be kind of tied together there. And then magnesium too.
And calcium's one where you'll look like you're getting a potassium deficiency, but you're really having a calcium
Or phosphorus surplus or something. Toxicity. That's the word I'm looking for.
I love watching Becca try to keep DOG calm while Red's doing it, and like she'll give him the signal and he'll stop, but then he'll come back with like this little teeny coo, like woo, little teeny ghost sound.
I talked to him and he just talked back. I'm like, no.
That's exactly what's going on, man.
And he's just
Diamond's in the living room laying under a blanket.
Chilled over there with Painted Lady watching the show, the game. What's the score over there?
It's tie game, dude. 20-20.
Oh boy.
Go Bengals.
Oh boy.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
When's the Super Bowl?
It's the game after this one.
February. They usually take a week
okay.
off and then come back and play. Well, of course it's February. What's today? The 30th or some shit?
What, the Jets going to the Super Bowl?
The Jets?
I think the Eagles.
Yeah, no.
Sponsored by Jets Pizza.
I think it's the Eagles and then whoever comes out of this game, right? Or
Yeah.
When you say Eagles in the Super Bowl, I honestly think of Donovan McNabb sequence. Right
Oh.
away.
McNabb was the last time they were there,
Yeah.
I believe.
Mc-
No, they won. They've won.
No, I
something.
think they've gone there a few times.
They won the
just
Super
never
Bowl
win.
not that
See,
long
you can
ago.
tell Baked used to live in Pennsylvania because he's kind of up on the Eagles.
Yeah, all my friends on Facebook from high school are like
When they
gung ho.
had,
That and before the whole
Nick
mishap,
Foles.
Penn State. But
Yeah.
Oh, mishap.
Foles
Boy,
and,
that's just
Carson Wentz.
understating the whole thing and moving away.
it was just interesting to see
Yeah,
how
we gotta
everybody's
go.
gung ho, and now nobody's
Yeah.
gung ho.
Nittany Lions. The
But
fuck is a
yeah,
Nittany Lion?
it's like a mountain lion.
Yeah, like a mountain lion.
They tell
Yeah,
me you wouldn't want to fight one, but I think I could take one.
I don't know what Nittany is.
I don't want to fight any lions at all. I mean, I would if I had to. I wouldn't just lay down and die for it. But
Smother
I
him
don't
with
want
your
to fight
beard,
one.
man. Smother him with that beard. Just,
Dude, we got
I would.
cat. We have lynx. I think we have cougar. We got some heavy
I was
cats.
just
Stay out of
making
those
joint
over
bag.
40 bars, Red. Stay out of those over 40 bars. You'll
Dude,
stay
I've
with
heard them in the woods. Dude, when you're in the woods, you hear like a big
I'm
cat.
glad you popped for that sequence.
It's fucking just as terrifying as a herd of coyotes. But it's just more terrifying than a herd of coyotes when you hear a what the fuck?
Shrieking in the woods at night is kind of spooky, man.
Especially the screaming Bigfoot. That's the worst one. The loud screeching,
You speak of the Yeti.
clacking of logs.
He's been on it a little extra lately
The-
because his
the
nephew is
rumble of
into
brush.
it too.
Like, you go,
Bigfoot.
kid. You go. Oh, dude, he's asking for like bimmies for Christmas and all kinds of shit, dude. He's out there. He's getting in the forest, man. I mean, I don't mean out there like mind out there. I mean out there like deep in the woods. He's getting out
Like
there.
Wookfooting it?
Yeah. He's
Footing it in the moonlight, baby.
Wookfooting in the moonlight, dude. You really got to look out for that.
I don't blame him.
DOG agrees.
He's out there
Emphatically.
more than my
Oh.
same area woods too.
You ever had any Wookfooting in the moonlight injuries, Red?
Not him. He's injured
I
others.
bet
with
you
the
had
foot.
to, man.
You
Well,
step on a
How many
Twig or
dead times
something?
you been to? You're gonna blow out a flip flop here or there.
Yeah, you have to keep your nails trimmed. I have, dude. I had a
Does the Wook foot transfer, Red? Like if you were to step on Becca's foot while you guys are out dancing in the moonlight, right? Would the Wook foot actually transfer to Becca? And if it was, would it be an F2? Would it be an S1? How would that work? And would the strength be
Becky's
diminished?
face right now is
depends on the
awesome.
species of that you're talking about here.
Well, I believe that's F1.
My foot with your Wook feet.
F1. Okay.
So when
Thank
you cross two distinct parents, you get an F1 variety, I
Well,
believe.
that assumes that Becca has Wook foot to give, though. She may by now, just through sharing a fucking bed with Red, she's probably
It's,
got.
it's hereditary. Very
You would
hereditary.
assume Rebecca has a feral foot.
We have separate blankets.
Separate
Good
blankets.
call.
My
Good
blanket,
call.
bro. Get off my blanket.
I like to have all my stuff clean, and he shares with DOG, and DOG's a little smelly, so I like to have my own blanket.
Ah,
Fair enough.
you hear that, dog? You're smelly. I told him that the other day when I was washing my sheets. I said, I wouldn't have to do this so often if you weren't so damn fucking
You just have to
dirty.
give him a bath, bro.
Yeah.
That's all that
Well,
is.
yeah, but it's the middle of winter.
Do you go roll around in the dirt and then come lay in your bed? 'Cause he does.
No, he
No,
does
he's
not roll
bonded.
around in the dirt. He's 13 years old. He doesn't be needing. He can't roll for shit.
You can't roll for
He
shit.
roll, he just can't get back up, right?
He's
Yeah,
still strong.
yeah.
He
He
is
sings pretty
Never
good.
mind. You're
Yeah, he
the same
sings.
as I am. Never mind. You gotta
He will roll on the carpet, but he does get stuck sometimes. He has to
Hey,
like.
whatever works, you know? Whatever works.
Yeah.
What are those yak chews? He'll go nuts
Oh,
for those.
cheese
man.
yak or yak cheese.
Yeah.
It's these little treats, man. I've never seen a dog not go nuts for him, or at least just be
Yeah.
ear to ear grin.
Big
Yeah.
gave one
There's
to
something
Diamond,
with
and she
them.
crushed the shit out of that
For
thing.
What'd you
Yeah,
give him?
I gave one
I have to
cheese
take
yak.
him. I have to keep taking him away from Boris. He can get it only for so long because he will
I'll show
literally
you, bro.
chew them consistently, not stop until his gums are bleeding. And I'm like, dude,
Just-
you gotta chill.
Disclaimer:
What is-
I'm not a vet or anything, so I don't know if there's any bad reviews. But they've been
Let me see.
having this one's like
Oh,
2
it's
years
like
old.
It's a dentabone, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like just a different
Oh, yeah.
material, and the bag says like cheese yak or yak cheese, and some dogs devour them. You know, if you know,
Right.
like my buddies like Diamond
gums on
and
it, okay.
my
Boris,
buddies
Boris did-
Doberman and Boris, but my dog he just chews on them and a little bit, and then I had another dog, Dabs. He would hide them, so he'd wait till you're not looking, and then he'd go
Where he's supposed
dip
to and
off and
shit,
try
yeah.
to hide it. So they just all love it.
The only thing you don't want to do with your dogs is, as a PSA, you don't want to give your dogs any kind of bone that can splinter. And you'd be amazed. I used to have a dog that was a Chow Chow mix, and I worked with the Humane Society. And this crazy ass dog, I'd had this cow shin bone thing forever. That, I would sterilize, I'd give it to the next dog and work with them with it. This fucking dog, I threw it down in her pen. She fucking grabbed a hold of it and was like, kink, kink, and then snap. I said, oh my fucking dude, I've used this with like 22 dogs before you. What the fuck? Now I've got to take it from your crazy ass?
yeah,
Like, easy,
shit.
easy. So your mileage may vary. Another thing is like cow hooves and stuff. Those can also fracture, and the black cow hooves smell like death when your dog is chewing them. So you don't want to use those like in your living room or anything like that because it's foul. Antlers and all that shit can all snap.
Just get a pack of cheese jacks. Your dog will be happy. Nothing smells. There's no splintering. Boom, you're good to go.
Susan
Cheese
says it's
yak.
yak penis.
It's yak penis. She knows what's up. So
You were just handling
Whatever.
yak penis.
Anyone
whatever.
Explain.
It's
anyone
dry
need a
yak
yak
penis.
penis worth, like,
Bully sticks are
Live
actually.
life a little bit,
Yeah,
Skilbo.
bully
Jeez.
sticks also are penises. So
We
really,
do.
really.
The
yeah.
bully sticks are penis.
That's all I'll give my dog is an antler.
I'm gonna Google it.
Like that long?
Yeah, it was like 4 foot
What is
long.
that?
Super really.
Bull-
What is that
it's a
kind of
bull
penis?
penis. Bull penis.
Yak cheese are hard cheese made from using cows or yak's milk as primary ingredient.
Maybe
Booyah! Thank
maybe
you,
even
Google.
a
Is
wagon.
it?
Possibly.
It's
These
not-
treats, these
It's not
treats
cheese
are
from the penis, is it?
no. These
Okay.
treats are highly nutritious with lots of proteins. Himalayan yak chews are entirely natural and safe.
There you go.
Well, so
It
it's
took
so
a
is a
crazy
bull penis.
turn there, didn't it?
What if your dog is
Yeah.
lactose intolerant?
If your dog's lactose intolerant, it does say it's like milk, so don't fucking do that.
What if he's yak
So the
toast?
dog's gonna have to go back to eating peanuts.
Lactose, yeah.
What about lactose intolerant?
Lactose intolerant? That's new.
Red.
Then they're gonna offer you $100 a month pill at your vet.
That's rare.
I'm gonna stick to an antler. They're safe.
I
There you
love
go.
the antlers. Diamond loves chewing on them fucking things.
They last forever.
Yeah. Even with a chewer like her, they last forever.
I haven't gotten new ones in a very long time.
They're
Have you gotten
expensive, but
Have
they're
you gotten
worth it.
yourself any new toys in a very long time?
What kind of
No.
question is that, Pete?
I'm saying like anything.
Just out of empty stuff.
You always go that way.
Oh, what are you talking about? I just asked you what you're
I'm
talking
just saying, once in a while,
That's
it's
you
nice
to
to switch up. Maybe they don't want Antler and they want a PlayStation or a different toy.
Oh, is it, what do you mean by different toy, Vic?
Like a tennis ball.
A tennis
That's
ball.
weird, man.
Bake, that is such a fucking cool ass pipe. Can you hold that up one time and show that off to everybody? Come this way. Look at the color
I
on
think
that.
he's compensating personally with that thing.
Wow.
Eh,
Man.
uh,
Like,
Like,
that's-
what are you
that's
trying to
comfortable.
impress? You know
Oh,
what
that's
I
a
mean?
Kiss Organic shirt. That's cool, man.
Mhm.
yeah, I
And it's
got
got a
this a
different
while ago.
mouthpiece on it too. It's almost got like
So,
a bongy kind of.
It's
bong.
that kind of glass. Maybe Sequence knows more. It like I say, I was
Silver
blue.
fumed.
Is it fumed?
Yeah, but when I clean it,
Silver.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
silver
It go.
fumed.
No, it'll go back to being kind of yellow, clear.
That's what it does.
Oh, okay. So it's
Fume
like
glass.
with temperature. Well,
So
fume.
the dirtier it gets, it starts to show the silver
Mhm.
more, and then that's why it looks like it's
Yeah.
changing.
Oh,
color.
because there's something behind it,
yeah,
kind of
Yeah.
creating a back. Okay, that makes
Yep.
sense. So yeah, you get this blue, and then if I'll clean it, it'll be all like kind of like that, like yellow, clear
Yeah,
yellow.
I don't.
So
Well,
that's cool.
at least when it's dirty, it looks dope.
Yeah, it's well, yeah.
that's called a church warden pipe, chat.
Yep. I had to look that up, and we
What the
met.
name of the pipe is? The style?
Yeah.
Church warden.
Church warden, yeah. For
I,
that.
I didn't
Wait,
know
Spartan,
that.
I got this one with you when we went to that event.
Yeah.
Because
I
the
got that
smaller
51.
one is a literal knockoff of this, even though I
Think
bought
that
it in
guy-
Florida.
Guy's
This guy
name's
gave it to
Jack.
me for $20 or something like that.
Shit, you can't
It
beat
was,
that.
it was
man.
no. So I was like, and it was bigger than the other one I had, so, and I wanted a bigger bowl.
Do you have to lay that one down, or does it have the kind of bottom that's
It's got
kind of
the-
punted
it's-
that you can
it's
you
got
can
a
set
It's
it
foot
got
down?
two little feet,
Yeah, okay,
two little
sweet.
feet. So you just set it down
Yeah.
like that. Let's put it
Yep.
right there.
Chat, you just put alcohol in that. You can clean it. No problem.
Yeah,
Yep.
I put alcohol in it.
Salt.
I'll
really
usually
helps.
let it sit like this regularly for a little bit, but then I'll get over the sink, and you just do that a few times, and it boom.
Works pretty good.
Yeah, but it is a dry pipe. But I mean, it's so long that like, it's not for the weak. But
But that's a nice one to smoke hash out of because it's got that long stem on it,
Yes.
so it's gonna really cool the smoke before it comes.
Would you say you really got to grip it hard? You know,
grip it, no. You can hold it pretty lightly.
One might
Shut
even
this
say
dope shut,
definitely.
man. He's in chat. He's shouting us out from the hospital. He said his wife's water broke. Baby girl on the way.
nice.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
congrats. Hopefully,
Hospital.
comes out at 420.
Oh yeah, congrats.
Well, we appreciate you indulging in the show while you're going through all of that at the hospital and everything.
Yeah, for
Good
sure.
vibes. Everyone is healthy. Awesome.
Hopefully, you're just sitting in the waiting room or something and not annoying the
Hopefully, we're like
wife.
mainstream.
He's like, everybody shut
Hey,
the
big
fuck
screen.
up.
Big screen, man.
MVGS is here. Guys got to pull through him. Ah, shut up.
No, Bake, you make a
We're
joke
just
about that.
ripping out. See, you're fine.
It doesn't make you feel any better. Just shut up.
Yeah.
You're ruining it.
What are you voting for?
Baked, have you ever you can walk into a grow store, man, and they'll have like the gigantic TV and shit. And my grow store used to play MVGS out there, so it
Oh,
does
our grocery
happen.
stores don't have TVs like that.
No.
That's cool. I like
Really?
that. No, yeah, we don't have like anything playing or nothing.
Yeah, so they just
That's
had like
cool.
a giant fucking like a 60-inch TV, and then they're just running it from the point of sales because it's right there. Boom. So they're watching videos all day and stuff. And
That's
streaming it, and
awesome.
it's really cool. But it's kind of wild. You walk into the store and you're like, hey, I know that voice. What the fuck?
Oh,
shout out to
yeah.
Grows for that.
Yeah, I got to
Dro
taste
strawberry.
that.
Seeing Dro in the chat, so I gotta
Good.
dab some strawberry 2.1.
All this goodness going around right now.
I'll
Oh,
have
so
to
good.
repay him with some
So
Chernobyl
gross.
and radioactive.
They're radioactive.
Yeah. I haven't gotten you any, Spartan, because I didn't have it when I came back. That was when I
No.
dropped off the blood. Yeah, we'll have to get you some. I think you'll like this. The radioactive is, if I know you like Durban, so I know you'll
Yeah.
like it. It really
Exactly.
comes out. It's like TJ was saying. It's like a three phaser. It was what was it first? Like lime candy, I think he said, and then Durban, and then something on the final. And I was like, I totally that it hit it on the head. But and the high's great, just like Fergoli said. It's like upper, like the poison punches. It came through on that. So like I cleaned my house the other day. That was nice.
It
Cool.
totally
Get some
is.
shit
Such a
done.
nice feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't tired after I left Red and Becca's. We did a bunch of dabs, smoked some joints. I wasn't like groggy driving, which sometimes I am just
You
because.
guys were
driving's boring.
talking for a second, and I was like sipping on the just Chernobyl dab by myself with the ruby insert, and I did the whole thing, and I was so high. I like walk around and like were real.
Hey Becca, you've had that Ruby for a month now. What do you think about that? What's your review on it?
It's really much better with BHO. It's a bit cleaner. I've noticed when it kind of after a while with rosin sometimes doesn't taste quite as good at the end. But if I do a smaller dab, I love it. And you could pass it around like 6 times.
we
and
did
it's still
6
temperature.
times.
Yeah, we
It
did.
held its heat the whole time.
Yes.
We passed
Yeah.
it, we
Shit.
passed it around 3 of us twice. So for girl,
Yep.
I did it with Bake too. All of us got to hit it like 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 times.
Proper, man. Proper.
Yeah,
Here's my review on it. I really like it.
that was one.
I
But
really like it. That's all you got for me?
I really
no, I'm about to elaborate. Here's why.
Wait a minute.
So-
it's just a baked with gesticulations, is what that is.
Well, I had to think about it over the weekend since I
Why
hit
use
it.
many words when a few words does the trick?
More hand
Yeah.
signals. bro.
So
He's got to have
Come
hand
on.
movements. It's
It's
baked.
got the
you know,
Madonna Vogue
do you
going
know how
on
to
over
melt
there.
chocolate properly? How they figure out how to melt chocolate
Don't
properly?
start trouble. Don't start
No,
trouble.
I
A double boiler.
Oh yeah, yep. I
So
do
it's
know that.
actually water underneath heat with the steam heating. So it's kind of like a buffer, if you will.
It's an
of
even.
heat,
It makes it an even.
So that and it slowly gets it there. I feel like that's what that Ruby thing is. Everybody should be using that, or even any version of material, because it's almost a buffer to where your dabs none of your dabs burn. Just
Right.
like the bottom of a pan when you're cooking, the first dab, when you put a drop of dabs in, the first, let's say, microscopic layer of dabs to hit the bottom, if your shit's just a little too hot, it's technically going to burn and can throw off your flavor. If you have that
Yeah.
Ruby insert,
Chaz,
it's almost like a buffer that's not going to happen because the heat was transferred evenly, like Spartan was said.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's a game changer. It's fucking sweet.
it's definitely cool. You gotta, I gotta find one and
Yeah.
match it
It's
up.
for the heat,
banger,
heat
man.
retention.
I
Yeah.
throw in the chat.
More
so-
mass to hold heat,
What
so
happens to the banger
Yeah,
if
look
I
how
just
it
bad
heat longer.
it gets
Yeah.
so dirty and I'm not doing anything
That's-
that crazy.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
not
can't
dirt. It's
get
like
it clean.
permanent soot. You know.
You got to clean it basically every time you do a dab.
But
Yeah.
I do, and then it's like
With the
one
Q-tips?
time I double heat it,
Yeah.
Yep.
just like
Yep.
it's done.
That
And
was
it's
like-
always
Yeah, you have to
Just
take
like-
care of them.
it's always
Yeah.
rosin.
Becca, it's just like having like a terp slurper.
Well,
It's like a whole extra layer of maintenance over a regular banger.
yeah, but I agree with her. Like the rosin can be of utmost quality, and
Yeah.
if you do it too hot on rosin, you're definitely dirtying. That's how I dirty up the Joel Hale.
And I
And
always use alcohol.
whereas, yeah, exactly. And I always wipe. I double wipe sometimes, but you get some nice BHO like Fergoli's clean stuff, and still has terps and everything.
This guy.
It doesn't happen as bad. And I don't
Right.
know. I mean, and I've had the
double
best,
wipe.
rosins out there, and it still will do it if you got rosin's just more
There you go, Red.
temperamental. You gotta get that perfect heat.
Babe,
We
you
have-
don't think that
we have
double wipe
50
thing is just
developers.
making it a bit raw back there?
Double what?
Yeah,
Double
wipe.
wiping is making it a bit raw. That's why it's burning.
Me,
You're rubbing
Spartan,
it too
anything
hard.
goes. We were all laughing at
Oh,
So
maybe.
it's good
that.
there too.
My
It's a high
assumption was
quality
it was
Q-tips,
boiling.
okay?
Don't
Some
fuck.
sort of
said
like
she likes
something
an
got in
email for that,
between the
right?
insert and the banger, and it just chazzed it in there a little bit. It just got heated in between there. One time, that's all it takes.
Yep.
See, Bake, that's a good point. For Burley brings up in chat. He says he likes the e-nail for the rosin. That way you keep that constant temperature the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and maybe
feel bad.
that's the maybe that's the trick is e-nails for rosin a little bit, and
Yeah.
other things for BHO. I don't know. We're still in this technically dabs haven't really been out for more than like I don't know
10
maybe
years?
10 years. Yeah,
10,
that's
12
like
years.
pushing it. So we're still in the beginnings. They're gonna. That's why I love it. All these kids these days are gonna find new ways of doing stuff and. I don't
Boomer.
know. I can't. I'm 32. I got. They're kids now, I guess. But like that Terp kid, that Terpanese kid, Young Terps.
Yeah,
That dude's like he's a mess, but it's hilarious. And like that dude and his friends are gonna find a dope way of dabbing one day, and I'm gonna be like, all right,
I'm trying it, right?
I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to do that.
I follow D-Nail on Instagram, and they're always showing their new prototype nails. And now they've claimed that they designed their last ever torch-only banger. So the theory is that all of the ones that they're designing now can be used with like e-nails, torches, induction heaters, all sorts of other stuff.
What's an induction heater?
So if you like the idea of like
Wow.
alternative ways of doing your dabs, check out D-Nail because they're
Dang,
showing
that-
up. They're doing some neat shit now with banger design.
that's cool.
What is
That
an
one's
induction
sick,
heater?
Red. Yeah, I don't know.
The induction uses like a pill that's got a metal in the inside of it that is then heated by a coil. So it's
Yes,
like
it's-
indirectly heated.
Oh wow. Okay.
Kind of like the vape.
Wait, what do you mean? You put the pill inside the banger?
Yeah, Dogman
There's
Truth
like a
has
wire
one.
connected to it.
It's a neat thing. It's got like a coil.
I'm gonna Google it real
It's like
quick.
a
so we
magneto.
can,
What about the Terp sous vide?
almost hash time.
Sous vide. Yes, we are close. We are 3 minutes from hash time.
Terp sous vide is a silly gimmick in my opinion. It's just a heat gun. So
Induction heater
mean,
for
whatever.
dabs.
There you go, Becca.
yeah, Becca.
Saucy.
Saucy.
I'll see.
That is poison punch. That'll be for dab time.
I'm gonna try. Red
You know what? I
for,
got some poison. No, I don't
fake
have poison punch. I have
radioactive
garlic
tool.
punch. Damn it. Can't match it.
I'm going to do straight poison punch
That's sweet, Red.
for goalie.
That's what I'm doing.
Oh, dope.
Matching.
Yep. Matching dab day.
Dab day.
And that was cool too for Goalie gave me the option. He goes, you want diamonds and sauce or you want
I see you
batter?
holding up the Yeti.
I was like, sweet. Give me the batter.
Batter's the easiest to scoop for
That's
sure.
one of my
Yeah, most of this is personal, so I'm just gonna. I was like, that for me is easier when you're doing 5 to 10 dabs a day.
Lime skunk.
Nice.
When all else
Ooh, Lime
fails, Lime
Skunk.
Skunk never lets me down.
No.
Shout out to Fagroli for this.
Yes.
And one of my all-time favorite concentrates.
Mhm.
Oof.
Shout out to Fagroli for making like 4 of the different dabs that people are dabbing for hashtag.
Exactly, man.
He is the man. He's driving around the state for sure. Getting
I'm
Well,
sure
Embracing his inner Terra, man.
he needs to come. Where? Drive down to me.
Hey,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
harvest a big old harvest.
I'm working on it.
You
Working-
muted yourself.
Is that
while you were
broccoli?
talking. That was intelligent.
Oh, that's a much.
Yeah, I accidentally sensitively clicked it.
Oh, yeah.
be cool though.
That's sweet, right?
Product
I got that flower.
Biggs, how much product did you end up giving him for your run?
Hash time.
Hang on, let me dab
Say
this real
red.
quick.
Sure.
Hash time.
Here's everybody. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It went fast, I think.
It did. We were at the Third Eye Craft Fair today. Shout out to them, Third Eye, and everybody over there. Super fun.
Good
I
call.
had to work my second job today. Otherwise, I wanted to come too.
Yep.
Yeah, with everybody come out.
I really want to make one of those. I know, aren't they taking a break?
Yep, 2
2
weeks
weeks.
off, and
Or
then
2 weeks off.
the first one will be back.
Yeah,
It's such a
I'll be free in 2 weeks.
I mean, I don't know. It's just a really good vibe. Good people.
And
chill.
Tara, since you've been there, it's like probably double the amount of people already.
Red, that one's sick. Look at that moon opal.
That's cool.
Fucking cool, dude. Dude, Diligent Glass is one hell of an artist. So
like-
all the glass I've shown, these alcohol cleaners, that's Keizu glass. All of these pendants I've been showing, this is Diligent Glass. These are all local Michigan artists. I was fortunate enough to actually meet Keizu Glass in person at one of the past events, late summer. Awesome artist, very, very kind person. Had no problem that I was selling his glass at the same event that he was selling his glass at. You do the same pricing, whatever. He's like, dude, I don't even care if you had your pricing more than I did. Like, he's a really cool dude, right? Shout out to these, cool heads, man.
And where is this held at, Red?
Okay, Third Eye Craft Affair is where you can find us and all of the works of art that we carry along in our gallery, as well as things that we produce on our farm. In Lansing, lately it has been at the Fledge, a really cool little community center. Dude, they have like a food pantry and all kinds of stuff. It's co-op. Very, very cool place. Little recording studio, community style, just, place for whatever. There's probably people in there doing poetry. There's probably people in there doing plays. There's probably people in there doing craft affairs.
Yeah, and Everyday Mary J, there we go, was there today, and she did one of her puff paint classes. That was pretty cool.
Puff paint.
She had a big group of people, and they all got to shop and have plenty of time up with the group, and then they went and painted like mushrooms and aliens, I think.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Some late sesh artwork.
Totally.
Yeah, so shout out to Third Eye Muse and Third Eye Craft Affair and all the vendors and all of the attendees and supporters and the DJs. There's many of them, all great tunes. A lot of like really cool funk and soul being played today. And I was having a blast with the music. It was great. Very cool day.
Did you see that?
And a lot of awesome
Came
stuff
over.
from the community, man, is what we like to see. Very, very cool people out there. I had a very specific shout out, and I'll have to remember and come back to it.
Did you forget the name again?
Yeah, always.
Well done, dude. Well done.
If you guys though are looking just for a place to chill and hang out, I was like, if one of these places would have existed like when we started dating, like that would have been a perfect first couple dates to go on. Like everyone's just smoking and listening to music, and
It's so fun.
there's a little bit of everything. And
Even the lounges that are popping up, and now that's even great too. I mean, it's just another a place for us to go to and hang out and do something other than go to a bar or something.
I'll have to go check it out one time.
So fun.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's nice. And there's food, a food truck always, and plenty of non-medicated food. I always make sure to ask so I don't get myself into trouble again.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
The windows are up in the wintertime, Becca.
God.
it's super cool. Super.
Red, do you have any more of those snails, or is it just the one snail?
We
got some more
we have a
snakes,
snail that's a pendant, and we
You
have
want it, don't you?
other garden snakes.
It was pretty.
We have
Yeah.
some garden steaks that are
Oh.
snails.
We have a couple of these garden snakes that are.
It's kind of cool, especially if they're flat.
They're a dabber.
It's either you can use it as a dabber, right? It's a dabber, or you pop it in your plant, and you put it in your plant as a stick.
That's kind of cool.
We have one. You can't see it, but it's in our monstera down here. There's one. You might be able to see it. There's like a big ass snail on a plant right here. You'd have to zoom in pretty heavy, but we have some of these plant stakes.
Oh, there's one in the.
And then I wanted to show you these dabbers.
I do love this plant spot. They got so
Oh,
good.
that's I want to shout out to the Baked Taters. That's who it was. Baked Taters, Michigan producers. They do rosin and flour, and they've been a part of the community doing some of these events. And they were out there supporting the community and hanging out, and they came over and they supported us and a couple of events, you know. And check out. I'm trying not to flash this price. Sorry, guys. The this is a dabber. Looks like a paintbrush. We just had like a little bit of like a radioactive tip to it, but like these are diligent as also.
Pretty cool.
Talking about a antler and like obsidian dagger style dabber, right?
Really cool.
But this is all glass. That's not, you know, antler. That's glass. He does such like the texture is awesome. Everything's texture. Everything has.
Oh, that's a good job.
Very, very good artist. Yeah, there's some more dabbers and stuff, but I'll for the rest of the show. All of this stuff can be found on our website at redsetterfarm.com.
I just want, since Big doesn't add his chair, to draw attention to the back right corner of his room. I just
Fucking badass.
Sequence. I love it. Sequence was cooking.
It's rotating it back into view.
We're gonna get a slow one cover.
Whoopsie. Oh, I was like, I had to put plants back in the tent.
Sorry.
And I was like,
I was like, what are you
I
doing?
was like, what's he bringing up? And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what did I leave out? A Sprite can? Nope. Okay. That's just airsoft, you know?
Can we get the pew pew?
Pew pew. Couple more of those.
Couple more.
Yep. Oh.
I saw the excitement.
Yeah, he's clueless over
I
here.
have no idea.
So, anyways, how about those Lions?
How about those Chiefs, right?
Kansas City just won their game, so the Super Bowl is going to be Eagles versus Kansas City this year.
So close.
It was close.
Yeah.
Terry, you're heartbroken, aren't you?
You know, it's not that. It's just they really they played well. Both teams, you know, it's hard. You know, I like Kansas City too, but man, the Bengals really they played well this year.
Sequence. What's your pick for the Super Bowl? Who you picking? And
I'm gonna go with Kansas City.
Eagles.
It's hard to bet against Kansas City, but the Eagles have looked incredible.
are you
Yeah,
hedging your bet
Man,
here?
they got green. Come
I
on.
think Eagles. I think Eagles.
You think
Yeah,
Eagles? Okay, baked.
So, what's the choices?
Kansas City,
Kansas City
or Philly?
versus the Eagles.
That's going to be the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I got to go Eagles.
Mm.
Caw-caw!
The Eagles crushed the 49ers, which is surprising.
Can't follow that, man. That was like a crow more than an eagle.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's a lot
hey,
of
hey,
stuff.
don't judge.
You
Don't
need to be
judge
singing some like
bird
Lee
calls. I'm not a
Greenwood or
bird
some shit with
expert.
the eagle, you know.
He's a crow that identifies as an eagle. Okay, Skibbo.
Yeah,
I know.
Thing.
Be anything.
One question.
2023. So, let's see. Anything new in the garden? Anybody's? I got light or electricity and veg outside.
I saw that.
the
That looks
garage.
awesome, dude.
Dude, what does that
Yeah.
look like when you walked in there with the lights on? All four of them on with those white walls and shit. The
Oh,
blinds
it's bright as sin. Like I literally don't want to go in there again without like
With the
Method
glasses.
Sevens. Yeah, to be honest. Like, but I real quick sidetrack from that. Found out Method 7 has a program. First of all their glasses are lifetime warranty on their physical parts. So like if a nut or a bolt breaks or something,
Yeah.
it's you know it's not you just smashing them with your car. you can send it in and they'll replace it. But they also have another one where if just something small on it breaks, or if let's say you do smash it with your car, send in everything you have with it, you know, whatever's remaining or just everything a part of it in a box, and they'll give you 50% off your next pair of probably the same model, but
Damn, that's a
still
good deal.
that brings your $60 pair to 30, or if you get the fancy ones, that's down to, you know, 100 to down to 50. So I thought that was cool. But
That is
yeah,
cool. I
so
haven't heard about that.
yeah, I found that out. So I think I'm gonna get a couple new pairs for work, and a couple for the garage. So we just have them in the beginning, you know, right in the hallway to grab. Cause it's
So,
bright as sin. Yeah, even without the painted floors, it doesn't matter. And when they were all on full blast, cause I was like, fuck it, let's see if the power works, you know.
Right.
And they're bright as hell. So we were literally TJ and I were talking. I was like, we may not even need a T5 or the little LEDs over in the rack for the clones
yeah,
to see.
just
It's so
just this
bright.
whole-
So it's a good thing. And then tomorrow we're gonna get out there and finish all the wiring in flower room and the HVAC, and we'll be cooking. Oh, and then
Nice.
insulators come Wednesday, so
So
we'll have insulation on those rooms. And then yeah, Spartan and I are gonna get out there too, and I'm gonna dump all those bags of insulation up top,
yeah,
spread those out. So it's coming along
It's gonna
here,
be so
Trichrome
cool to see.
Forge.
it's gonna be so cool to see how well it holds the heat. I think heat or whatever. I think the heating and cooling is gonna be badass.
Oh, so I got more to talk about this. So I'm helping. This is a pay an electrician weed situation, and I stand there and help and learn and do what I can. Like I go in the attic and run the line. It's my attic and stuff. So I learned a ton, but we got the panel off. It's a 200 amp panel. We got the plate off, the door and the plate, and I'm using metal clad cable. And if you don't know what that is, it's your standard rubber wire and everything, but it's clad in like I think it's aluminum
Oh, okay.
corrugated. So you don't need conduit. It's the conduit itself. Rats and
Like
birds
flexible
can't get through
conduit,
it.
basically.
Yeah. So you just run it. So I'm using that, but it's metal. So keep that in mind. So we're starting at the panel and going up through the wall, and I'm up in the ceiling, and I'm going to grab it and run to the room. That's how we're running them. And then we'll cut it when we have enough there, a little bit extra, you know, and then we'll run the next one until we finish that room. So
Okay.
before we even do that, he starts putting one through. I don't know. I wasn't really looking, but he starts putting one through, and once it got long enough, obviously there's slack. It's still like a rope, you know? So there's slack,
Yeah.
and that slack went boom. And keep in mind, my panel only has like 20% of the circuits taken up, the breaker spots. So there's like 80% of this panel is just main. It's just your main.
Yeah.
And that thing go boom, and just spark and
So
volt.
wait a minute. You're telling me that it was hooked to the panel and then you ran the line? Why wouldn't you run
No,
the
no,
line?
no,
now?
no, no. We're at the panel, like with the wall peeled back. We're not hooked into the panel. That's where we're starting.
He
Panel
dropped
in
it on
is
the
all.
panel.
Instead of starting in the room and feeding to the panel, we're
That's what I'm
starting next
saying.
to the panel. We're just standing next to it with the
Oh.
cable. We're
How
not,
did you get the electricity then?
because the panel's open.
Yeah, the panel itself, the bars, like the main and the ground, he bridged them with the wire.
Yeah, he
Why?
wasn't thinking,
shit,
and so
dude.
the extra
I
slack
don't know if I want that
swung.
dude working at
Oh,
my
it just
place
swung
with
and hit
weed
that.
or
I see.
without.
Hit
Man.
that when he wasn't thinking. So I mean,
Oh, okay.
it hit the main, and we had to turn that back on. But then that threw off my heater. So I learned how to be a natural gas heater tech because
Oh,
I
nice.
YouTubed the shit out of that. But this is why I bring it up, because for an entire 24 hours that place didn't have heat, and the snow on top still melted quicker than my house, and like it was, and it was
Damn.
still like 45 in there. So
We
it
don't have the
wasn't.
insulation in the top yet.
Exactly. I was like, this closed cell is well worth its money. So I can't wait to get top insulation, get the sidewalls, and we're gonna be killing it. But yeah, we were fine. I blew a fuse in the heater. Just FYI, guys, there's sometimes fuses in your heater, and that saved it. So I fixed that, and then we kept going. So got it all done.
How was it to fix
Yeah.
that fuse?
What do you mean? You just pop open the side, and
Place it
then
out.
we took out the fuse, and you could see it was just like burnt up in the middle. It's a car fuse. It's a number 3.
Oh, no shit. Okay. Nice.
It's not 4 cars. Like if you go, it's labeled as AC, but like I'm sure somewhere out there, some cars using a 3 for something. But it's just like your car one. Like we checked his truck panel to see if he had extras, and the smallest one he had was a number 5, and we need a number 3. But I got 4 of them for $4 at Menards, and then I slapped the rest of them. I taped them to the top of the heater, so it's just like boom.
Smart. So that you don't lose them that way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I'll probably forget for an hour if it ever breaks again. I'll be like,
They'll-
where did I put those fuses? And I'll be looking through my tool bags and things,
Mhm.
but
I'll be there for
yeah,
months.
we'll eventually find them. But yeah,
Hell
so
yeah.
that was the fun this weekend.
Those fuses will blow once every 30 years.
Yeah.
And only when
Or
there's
if you
like
trip
a-
the main.
Yeah. So all that has to be wired up is the 2 flower room. We're really 1 flower
The
room.
flower room and the HVAC, which we're gonna swing it all tomorrow since you want to watch football tonight. And
Nice.
How many
it should,
outlets did you
this
put in
one
that
is
bedroom?
closer to the panel too. Say what?
How many of the outlets did you put in the bedroom?
So in the bedroom, there's 3 circuits. The light circuit, which has 4 outlets. That's all I put. But expandable, it's got 4-inch boxes, so I could do
Double.
dual if I
Okay.
really needed to.
16.
And then the next circuit, what we call the fan circuit, which is just about 5 feet tall on the wall. It goes all the way around. There's 4 boxes, and they each have 4 outlets in them.
That runs your
110
environmental,
volt.
basically.
They'll just run fans, and then if we need to plug in like a shop vac and clean up, it will
Yeah.
we'll have more. It's way more than I need. And then there's 2 boxes on the right wall near the drain that just have singles, so
Yeah.
they have 2 each, so 4 outlets. And that would be for the
Good man.
DU, and maybe if we need LEDs over in the corner for the like seedlings or something, that's what that was for. So 3 circuits, and then the next room is the same thing, 3 circuits. Just a little less outlets because I didn't do 2 on the DHU line. I did, or DHU circuit, I did 1. So it'll just be the DHUs.
It's going to
So
be.
what are your
But it's-
solutions for fun stuff? Like, you got radios wired into these things, or Bluetooth speakers, or
So
It's an EDM dance. Actually, it's a straight EDM rave club in there.
Robot music. Man.
I've got a little. It looks like a lantern, but it's a
have you
Bluetooth.
considered a lighted
speaker.
floor, like tiled lit floor?
Maybe
There's
one
There's
day.
ceilings,
That would be
No.
sweet.
conversation pit in the back corner.
The cool shit is the fucking plastic walls, man. The PVC
Yeah.
walls. We go in there
Yeah.
and fucking spray the fuck out of them if we need to.
Yeah,
True.
Not worried about it.
but no, we don't have. I already have a plan for internet though, which is the big thing we've
That
been
is
worried
cool.
about because we want monitors, we want security cameras, things like that, and we want to be able to like, show the chat and shit like on here, be able to walk through there and film or something. So we're gonna get one of those mesh networks like you have, and
I was just going to
I'm
ask you.
pretty
if it was
sure
a
that
match.
will. I've got an outlet literally in the corner of my house, and then a corner of the garage that's the closest. So like that'll, I'm hoping, work real well, and then we'll have all that stuff out there, and that would be nice to eventually have pulses or some sort of monitor.
You just need something to
system.
make that run. And like the ones I was looking at Sam's Club said it had like a 30-foot range that you wanted to put, like your first one goes into your modem and wires
Yeah.
in. And then your second one has to be like 30 feet away or so. And then
Well,
your
yeah,
next
my-
one can be like 30 feet away from that one. If you had more, you could go like 30 feet more away. But you have to get from the house to the spot.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
they just
I won't be able to
stronger one.
daisy chain them, but my buddy who has a similar setup, it's a disconnected pole barn garage.
Mhm.
His is further though. He says he doesn't have an issue. So
Disconnected. There you go. That's what you got to type in to look that shit up. See what they
Yeah.
recommend.
I mean, there's all kinds of. They'll tell you there's these like laser beam things you would mount to your house, and then
Metric
you would,
laser.
and then you would mount a receiver on your garage, and if I was doing anything more serious than buying a mesh network, I'd just go ahead and figure out how we can bore under a driveway,
Like a dedicated
that's
line.
the-
Yeah,
and then I'd run the line.
And don't
But
lose any
that's
speed.
the only hurdle is there's a driveway now in between the cable box here and the garage. So in every which direction, pretty much. Yeah.
You're stuck.
So
You don't have
Yeah,
any
so-
lines that run from the house to the garage?
no, it's on its own power. It's on its own. I get a separate bill for
That's
it.
pretty sweet.
Yep. I'm gonna try to get its own water, this spring. So yeah, that was a real big selling point because I'll literally be able to be like, all right, there's my grow cost, and this is what I'm costing myself and living in my house.
Sure.
And nice separate.
Makes it really nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Well, you're a numbers guy. You know what I mean? You want to be efficient. You've spent how many years have you been designing this grow, to be honest? Like, when did you really start the first ideations of it?
Like the very first would be like, I don't know, getting out of jail. But
It all begins anew,
like,
right?
that's like that
Exactly.
was literally my dream was just to, everybody leave me alone. I have my own house and my own grow that I like, a nice grow. But really, I started probably around the time I met Sequence and was really thinking about getting out of Florida. So I don't know, 2019, 2018, I don't know when, something around there, 2020. That's when I was in Florida and I was looking shit up, writing it down, and just like planning. Like if I get a pole, I had to just you start somewhere, and I had to be like, all right, if I get a space that's like a pole barn, let me look up general size
big
of the
does
pole
it need
barn.
to be?
20 by
When you
40.
Right.
Okay, this is what I'm dealing with. All right, this is what I'm gonna try to. And I would get like my favorite thing is grid paper, and you can buy these books.
Graph paper, man.
Graph paper, yeah, and you just every single square is a foot. That's
A foot,
easy peasy.
yep.
So you
Easier,
can design so many. All right, next page, redesign it the other way you were thinking, and then the next page, redesign it the third way, and then decide what would really work. Then I started meeting, people like Spartan and Sequence and all you guys, and came up here.
Dro.
I literally, before I went to Mitten Canna, I watched our MBGS thing where y'all toured it, and I literally would pause and be like, "What's that
Okay,
on
what
the
am I
wall?
seeing? Right. What is this?
What's-
What do they say?
What's this thing holding the plants? I gotta figure that out.
There you go,
Oh, that's
Red.
a rolling bench."
We were
Things like
conscious of that recording. We were like, we're not recording these walls or these walls.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Don't do
And then
this.
when I finally got to work there, I went, that's how I'm gonna do my plumbing if I plumb it into the, and that's, if you look at my house, I modeled it off. It comes off this
Yeah.
wall, goes to the
Right.
ceiling, and then it comes down with spa tubing.
That's
And,
the same thing I did when
yeah.
I started walking around those commercial grows. I was like, what ideas can I take from this home with me to make
Yep.
my grow easier on myself? And usually it was like plumbing or
It's plumbing or the rolling carts, man. Like
Yeah, how they
first
did
it
the
was the
tables.
rolling 40-foot long rolling tables at Mitten. And then it was when we went to Freedom and we got to see the crazy fucking like
the racks, those are nuts.
the double decker
Tell
shit
you what,
rollers, man.
I will say is that when I toured that, because I always thought that was cool, but when I toured that and I went up and down those ladders, that I was like, I mean, I know what a day feels like working on your feet all day long with plants.
Oh,
Then going up and down those all day, that told me
Yeah.
that I don't ever want to work in a place. with
Tara's
like,
hardcore, man.
It was
Yeah.
fun. It was. Hey, I got a great workout while I was there. I
I
was
bet.
in great shape.
Toned right up, right?
Hey, it was fun working up like that. It was nice. I liked it.
Did
It
you or
was
did you not
comfortable once
fall
you got
one
up
time?
there. I like how wide the actual, like, what would you call that, scaffolding was? Whatever you stand on, it was pretty
Yeah.
solid.
It
yeah.
was a catwalk. Is
Did you
basically.
fall
Yeah,
one
well-
time, Tara?
Did I what?
Did you ever fall off of that or like on the steps
no.
or almost slip?
The only time that anything like could happen is like every now and again when we were hooking in. Sometimes we would like have to like shimmy the rack a little bit, and sometimes they would pop up and out. So you'd have to kind of make sure, like if you were too heavy on one end or something, you could actually pop an end out.
You could derail them.
Yes, yeah, that could happen too. So,
Yikes.
but other than that, they were very, very safe.
But they're sturdy as shit, though.
Yeah.
Like even my big ass got up on one and ran
Pounds.
around on it.
I was surprised about that. How
Yeah.
sturdy.
It was.
Thank you for believing in me, Spartan.
That's something that
Same
Yeah,
for myself.
I-
I was a little sketchy for myself. I don't know if I want to be up here with more than just one person.
Exactly. Don't
And
put.
we're all piling up there. I'm like, wow, these are holding.
Yeah.
something chat might not be able to see from us be sitting here, but Scobo is a huge man. He's like 6'6" or something. Just towers over everyone when we're hanging out.
Put yourself in my shoes. You're all
Red got himself. I didn't even have to.
Yeah, dude.
height to me.
Yeah.
So when
That's
I
gotta
look
be
up, all I
crazy.
see is your foreheads. I
Are
don't-
you seeing like double chins? All of our double chins?
yeah, that's all I see. Is I mean the bottom of your chins. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that's
yeah.
there. I got Spartan,
Relax, Gimli.
Bake, Skilbo.
I think you're tall
Thanks.
because I think I'm
Yeah,
You're
and we're
pretty
the
tall.
same height.
that's so nice.
Same
I
height.
tell you what, if there was a world of smaller beings, you guys would be taller.
It was 1828.
That's the kind of support every man needs, Becca. You're a good one.
Mhm.
Well, I
That's all you
always
know for.
thought I was super tall. Like I just thought I was a tall person, and so I
Never looked at the numbers.
I
think
always
they're just
thought I was a tall
that's what it
fourth
is.
grader, and then seventh grade hit, and all my friends got taller than me.
Well, I used to go to the doctor and be like, is that tall? When they would, is that tall? Am I tall?
Dude, I'm 6 feet
The
tall.
doctor told
in
me I was
middle
tall,
school.
so I'm tall.
Well, like, what's my percentile?
See, everyone always calls me tall, and I don't really think so. But
Yeah.
Well, you're like 6 foot, right?
yeah, like 6 foot.
Yeah,
Even,
that's
I
pretty.
think.
That's what they say. They say that's tall, man. That's
know,
why
but
I don't
get
feel
it.
tall.
Tara, what do you consider tall? Like, what's the cutoff for you?
Of being tall,
You think it's like a 5'11", 6 foot thing? Is that where we're drawing our demarcation line here?
but is tall. To me, I feel like that's tall, but I think for the average man is like I think 5'9", 5'10". I don't know. I
Yeah, it's
haven't.
like 5'9". I think we looked it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
My driver's license has always had the same height on it, so
4'11" and a half.
I did no growing between 16 and 18. I was done
Wow.
growing by the time I was
When
like,
was the last time you measured yourself, Red? You might actually be shorter than you're used to.
probably
Yeah, you could have
do get
started
shorter
the
as you get older,
recession. They
Red.
call
You
it
got
the
that.
recession.
You
most
can
like
look forward to that.
well after diving into Lake Charlevoix,
Yeah.
Compression is a bit.
ripples
Plus,
bottom.
plus all that wook footing is grinding your bones down.
Well, it's making him taller though, as the Wookfoot layers go on there. Kind of like that Fordite. Remember we talked about that
I do a lot of
before?
reaching.
Wasn't that your shit?
I reach a lot,
Fortnite.
stretch out. I get to stretch a lot, so
You got long arms.
I'd probably lost 1.5 inches after diving off that dock.
Especially if it's cold out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Yeah, you got me back.
modestly a few inches there.
So there's a great question in chat that I'm not sure I have an answer for, but I don't know how you say there's no vowels. I'm gonna say what's CHR? I don't know what that could
Let's
be.
call it Chris Man.
The Chris Man, okay. Good evening, everyone. Where can I buy 3 yards of good compost in Kalamazoo area? I'm getting my outdoor garden prepared and need a trusted source.
That's
I
a
mean-
lot of compost.
I don't live in the Kalamazoo area, so it's hard for me to give you like my first go-to would be some kind of a local source. If you want
Yeah, I
something
would
that's
check
got
out
some
Lane's.
microbes still left in it.
That's
Landscape supply.
that's my biggest hurdle. Also,
Okay, so let's pivot off of that. What is a brand, a bagged brand of compost that you would recommend if somebody can't find something fresh local? What have you used? What have you had good
I
luck
don't-
with?
Morgan's
I don't
compost.
usually get them. Yeah, Morgan's compost is what I probably turn to, which is the one people behind Dairy do and all them.
That's what I
And then
use.
Malibu compost is another popular one, but I
That's the
really
other one. Booze Blend.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been using Coast of Maine just because it has an Armory certification, but I'm almost thinking about switching over to Booze Blend just because they have way more options, even though they're not Armory certified.
Yeah.
They have all of the documentation that can show how clean the shit is.
That's what I
And
used
they-
to build my 4x8s originally, was Booze Blend.
They seem pretty serious about it too.
Where you get a yard of that though?
Grove Green's got it probably if anybody in the state.
Yeah,
does.
you'd have to go to
They
a
deliver.
big
Wow.
place like Grow Green or Grow Gen.
They
Dude, that'd be
deliver.
fucking
That's
huge,
all I'm
though.
thinking. He asked for 3 yards, so it's like I don't
Yeah.
know. All those brands sell. You know,
Yeah.
a
That's
bag.
gonna be
of
premium- that's gonna be a
15
premium
Three
gallons.
yards of compost. I think you just call your local landscape supply, and they got 3 yards of compost. I think.
Yeah, but then you're getting generalized compost that's probably got pesticides. Landscapers don't give a shit about pesticides and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
You're getting.
I would never call
Yeah.
for
Yeah, what I
cannabis.
would
I'm
say-
assuming this is for cannabis.
So last year I ordered, I got 4 yards of soil and 4 yards of compost. Or I'm sorry, I got 4 yards of compost and I got 4 yards of mulch. And the compost, they asked me, do you want specifically like garden compost? What are you composting? Sort of a thing. Like, so if you do call, it wasn't a landscaping business though. There's just an area around here that had a big sign up that said pulverized soil and a phone number. So I gave it a shot. But she asked me specifically what kind of compost did I want. And I explained that it was for a garden and she quoted for that one.
Yeah,
Edible
that's
garden,
dope.
yeah.
If you can find something like that, that's somebody that cares. They made their own soil and put up a sign, but
Yeah.
Cheers for growing.
another thing I was thinking about, I know there's a company near Detroit that does large quantities of worm castings, and you
Yeah.
could possibly just get a bunch of worm castings and try to make your own compost. All I'm thinking.
Is it
I remember hitting them up and they wanted only
like
big
perma-
orders, and that was probably about big enough.
You know, I'm really happy about moving out here to the country because I've started 2 huge fucking compost piles with just things that I've taken down, brush and stuff from my yard. I'm using the Spartan method. The fuck it, it'll figure it out. Don't put any kind of food in there. Just kind of let it be foliage and shit, and just keep pouring it on. And you know, I'm thinking in 2 or 3 seasons, by the time it really starts breaking down, I'll be good, and I'll be able to move to the next pile and the next pile.
How,
It's one of
how
those things-
often do you
Just
mess
a couple,
with it?
yeah, just a couple of years. Don't even fuck with it. Just in a couple of years, you just
Yeah.
pull off the top because you might be some big stuff that didn't decompose fully. Pull that off the top and throw it in whatever your current compost pile is, and all that fucking black gold at the bottom, fucking just put it over top of your fucking where you're planting, and it's gonna make shit just pop.
That's the plan, man. So much good shit.
Dude, I'm doing
You
the
know,
same thing, Scobo. All
having
that
to-
chicken stuff and everything.
I love the static piles, man.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
for
having
really?
the first season and having to rely on bringing in, you know, some kind of compost or something that you're going to use for that, you know. So maybe this first season he's got that, but if he's got enough room to need 3 yards, sounds like he's got enough room to try to get some natural static piles possibly going around the property as well. Dude, I'm
Yeah,
getting
but
stoked
the
for
first couple
outdoor,
years,
man.
we got to bring them in. You know, maybe he knows, and he's starting his piles, but it's for 2-3 years. He's still going to have to
Right.
bring something in from somewhere else.
Exactly.
But he'll
Yep.
start producing for him.
Yeah, tough question there, because that's the problem is like we don't have a lot of local, places that do stuff like that these days, and that's why like you got like Red and Becca and people that are
Well,
working towards like
Right.
I would be
more
real creative, though.
localization.
You can be really creative though, and look at some of the livestock people. So like, we know like rabbits are a cold compost one that doesn't have to. You can use it right away.
This year,
And,
right now.
Yeah. So like rabbits, same thing with llama and what's
What
the
about
other-
alpaca?
Alpaca.
Yeah, do you guys have any of those farms?
Alpacas are right away. Cool.
Do you have
Yeah.
any farms that are local for those that you can actually get that
There's
manure
one
from?
in Jackson.
Well,
I
yeah,
think.
dude. There's alpaca farms all over the state. Just to let you know.
Really?
There is.
Yeah, and
I got
and a
one
lot
less
of
than 12
these
miles from my house.
places,
No
they
shit.
don't even know that like they don't look at they look at shit as shit.
For
So,
Gurley, have
like,
you ever
you could hit
purchased
'em up
any
and get
before
some.
local to you?
I have not. I've
Okay.
never used that style of. Well, I have used rabbits fertilizer directly in
If it was cost
vegetable
effective,
plants, herb
I would think
plants.
about doing that.
But yeah, no, I haven't tried that in anything any cannabis, style or anything like that. I will
There's
say, I know I'm tagging on to this conversation, but Michigan Mediums is who I get all my soil through. They're local, I think, I don't know, somewhere closer to Detroit, I guess, from where I am. But yeah, I've been using their soil for close to 2 years now, actually. And I guess Outdoor 2021 maybe was the first time I used it. And I use it all for my indoor plants now.
I'll repeat the question just so you have the perspective of it, I guess. They were asking for 3 yards of compost near the Kalamazoo area. So we're
It's
trying to find
recommended.
a compost source of some sort. near that area.
I mean, I don't know how much that would cost you normally, but I probably have it and I can deliver it and I'd have to charge for it.
There you go.
Well, I know
But,
I'm lucky in that I'm local to Big Jar. So he had messaged me like a couple months ago. He was like, dude, that lady is like 2 miles from your house where I got the good fucking shit from. So like you're closer to her than me now. So I have my local hookup. So
you know what? Speaking of local hookups, guys, you really like if you are into homesteading, farming, or I mean, really, this is anything, but specifically this type of stuff. Go to your like local farmers and like look up on. I mean, I'm sure Facebook Marketplace, like just anywhere online, just Google it. Nice shirt sequence. I just realized what shirt you're wearing, and ask, like, just call around and you'll see signs driving around if you're not in the suburbs or the city. Hay, a bale of compressed hay, which is something I would use for bedding for my chickens, or just like flooring, I guess, not really bedding. It's $15 a bale now at Tractor Supply. You could get that for like $3 from the farmer down the street from Tractor Supply. So it's worth going out and trying to seek out those. And I actually found that out from the cashier at Tractor Supply. Shout out Renee. She's awesome. But there's
you just hit her with the locals. Shout out to Renee.
But there's alternative methods to sourcing a lot of this stuff that we use on a regular basis. And if I'm working on year 3, I think, of my compost pile coming up this summer. I don't think I'll be using any of it yet this summer, but I know I've got 2 compost piles, like Skibbo was talking about, static, that are getting ready to go. And I know they're very high in nutrients. So I don't know if, what exactly the plan is for it, but it's, it's a long-term plan. And these are things that you can come up with yourself, and honestly, rather than buying hay from the farmer, I could probably just go cut it in my backyard, so it's like these are just loops we're trying to think about.
I did so much chop and drop off of the outdoor that I really, once I got that started, I didn't, and I had so much cover crop that I ran my cover crop all the way through. I would just cut shit if it got to the point where it was starting to like get up into what I was using as a bud site or something.
It's super easy to build a homemade baler. I was looking at one yesterday.
In what way?
You can make a baler. It's a little wooden box that you can compress all of your grass into, and you can take your twine and bale it up and make yourself a bale of hay out of your own grass clippings, basically.
What are you guys doing with your chicken excrement?
Throwing it in the compost pile, static compost pile.
It's all being composted.
They're in deep bedding right now, inside their coop. So they've got like a huge chunk of like pine shavings, and we've put in hemp stalks and all kinds of stuff.
Or things that you can use in a top dress for yourself.
We haven't done anything with it. Yeah, it's all
It just moves down.
going into the coop so far.
The coop just moves down over time, and
But it'll be done in time for the outdoor season, though. You guys will be able to do that spring cleaning on that and gather that all up and figure.
It's like 6 months, I think. Is
well,
what they
in the
said.
summertime. In the summertime, we'll probably, clean it out like once every 60 to 90 days, depending on how bad if it starts to stink. But it's wintertime now and it's cold, and there's no like microbial breakdown outside in there, so it doesn't stink at all. And it's just as long as it's not piled up to their roosts and piled up to their egg where they need to lay eggs and shit like that, we're just going to keep adding more material and letting it just sit there because it doesn't stink. It's carbon. It's called a carbonaceous diaper. It's literally a diaper, and you just keep adding carbon on top, wood chips, whatever. In the run, we use leaves. We saved like 6 large bags of leaves in the garage that were dry, and we add leaves to the run every couple of days. That will all be composted as soon as we decide
It's like
to.
accelerating it, you know.
Yeah.
I think I've spoiled my chickens because I saw a picture, maybe a story of your guys' chickens like last night, 2 days ago, something like that. And I saw footprints in snow, and my chickens refused to touch the snow.
So did ours.
Becca
They-
forces
so
them.
I was
Get out
like
there.
shoveling
Get
the
in the
snow
snow.
away so that they could, because if there's just a little bit and it's mostly grass, they'll come out. But if it was just snow, they wouldn't. So I was like raking the snow away for them. And
I literally put like a bridge out of cannabis leaves from thinning the garden out the other day, and like they would walk on that and peck at the leaves and stuff, but they would literally there's not a single little footprint in the snow. It was kind of ridiculous.
You know, something that I do for my dogs, and I've learned this through the years the hard way. If it snows really heavy, I go out there. I've got one of those rechargeable fucking leaf blower things, and I'll go out there and I'll make sure that I blow the snow far enough away because I have some really small dogs that are really, really short. And you know,
Get lost
she's
in the
like
Oh.
snow.
11 years old, and she'll look back at me like, "Dude, I'm not
Come
going
on,
out
man."
in that shit. That's like up to my stomach, man. No way." So I just go out there with the leaf blower, hit it, knock that down. You could probably do that for the chickens at the same time.
Oh yeah.
The chickens would be flying everywhere if I brought my leaf blower by them, but that would be an interesting.
They're
thing.
hiding out in the coop. You know what I mean? You just go out there and blow it away from that.
I have thought about doing that in terms of cleaning the coop out. You know, if it's like just like all the wood, or
Throw the mask
pine
on and,
shavings,
you know,
yeah,
I-
Piffy, full
I
style.
would say that we have had almost full production this winter out of our Lent, and we don't supplement light. We don't supplement heat. They get
And you thought they needed a rest.
good old fashioned winter and rest. I mean, yeah, they're getting their rest. They're laying eggs for us. But we are giving them is, you know, when it is thawed, they're getting time in the garden and eating tons of grubs and earwigs and protein, worms. They're getting tons of protein.
those warm days, they're so happy because all the bugs are like coming up a little bit in the ground and they're just digging like nuts.
And we've been bringing home a lot of biomass from our indoor garden. So like our mothers, you know, we just did a clone. We took clones,
Perpetual, man.
a garbage bag worth of biomass, just fresh and it's cold out. So we just leave it in the garage and it'll stay fresh. You know what I mean? And every few days we get a handful of, and they eat the shit out of it every
They're
day.
munching that too, right?
Devour.
Every few days they go
I'll
through
put
the
out
bag,
a big
I mean.
thing. They'll just if I hold it for them, they eat it much faster. But when it's on the ground and they're pecking at it, it takes them a while, and it's like a game for them. to
So-
get it.
They naturally want to scratch, like so their thing is to just go around and scratch at shit until they find stuff. So that's like that's funny that so they're eating it out of your hand.
Dude, they
Yeah.
chow.
They
If I
love it.
hold the food, they want me to hold it for them, and that because there's tension and they can
'Cause
rip
they don't
it.
have opposable thumbs back here.
And
Yeah.
they go to town, and then they're going after my
All
food.
right, how many of them have names?
All of them.
They all do.
Oh no!
I tried naming them like sandwich and fettuccine and
Just you might as well
Lonely-
name it
call.
Lonely
Ming
Wait,
food
you're
and
gonna
Hawk
eat these
food and
chickens?
Fox food.
No, they came with names mostly, and a couple of the names we didn't know, and so I just chose new names for them, and they're great.
I mean, you can pick new names for them; they won't know. I'll be honest.
Tic Tac and Marshmallow.
don't
Tic
come.
Tac and Marshmallow. And we got 5 eggs the other day out of 6, so
Oh yeah,
new
Big
one
Mama
eggs.
and Carmela.
No, Carmela's been laying eggs. Her type of chicken lays like 300 eggs a year, so
Holy cats.
she's gonna put out quite a bit. But
well,
They're
they're kind of.
Carmela.
Carmela,
And there's,
Is it
there's
a Rhode Island Red or
what?
is it a Rhode Island Red or what kind of
It's she's a buff.
Buff Warfington or whatever? Yeah, those are beautiful, man.
Yeah, she's
She's pretty
small. She's kind of bullied. Like she's the lowest on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ladder for sure. Like even the two black chickens, even they get bullied on also, but they bully her.
I've got 2 broody hens right now because we got 15 chickens and 3 roosters, and We've just allowed 2 of them to become a little broody and see if we can't raise some little baby chicks. So we gotta probably go get the incubator to do it right and everything. But it's, man, I tell you what, if you don't like keep track of eggs and go get them every day and stuff, you really got to start checking them if you got roosters.
Yeah, our girls are pretty loud, so I don't think we could get away with a rooster. They
No.
like as soon as we open the door, they're so excited. They're like screeching, waiting for us to come back there. Because
Have you guys bought any like mealworm or anything like that to like give them treats?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so funny when you like I throw like a handful of those down. They come out and they're like, "Oh, I changed my mood. I'm happy today. We're looking for mealworms."
Yeah, no, they're obsessed, and they really like the feed that we get them. It's got a bunch of different stuff in it, and so I could kind of like toss them out, and they'll peck around at it. And
What is your feed that you're using for them, Becca? Because you're getting good production out of these.
yeah, the brand is New Country Organics. It's like their classic layer feed, and it's not milled, so it's all, or it's not milled. No.
It's whole grain, and they can you could
Straight.
ferment it if you needed to. It has corn in it. It's not a corn free, but I believe it is it's something free, isn't it?
It's like GMO. It's all the
Oh,
bad
yeah.
It's organic.
There's no
and
there's no
they
sprays,
really
glyphosate.
seem to like it.
Like,
That's important because you're going to eat these eggs. So like it's really important what
Right.
you feed these
Well,
guys.
Well, there's a lot of people saying that the current feed that they're using, they're getting far less production that they have in years past, and they're attributing it to their feed.
And you guys are getting the added benefit of getting like the hemp characteristics and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing this loss in production this year because we're not using the same feed that a lot of other farmers are using. The feed we're using is not cheap. That's why we're trying to supplement with as much of like our garden as possible.
Dude, organic feed is crazy expensive. It's literally over twice the price of regular chicken feed, and that's a
What?
part of the reason why we stopped feeding our chickens organic feed, because quite frankly, not a chunk, not a large chunk, not a majority, but a chunk of their food is our table scraps, and we don't eat 100% organically. We tend to get like, try to get some organic meats, some organic dairy, things like that. But we don't, I'm not just going to sit here and claim I like eat organically. And so those chickens aren't necessarily getting organic food, but I'll be honest, they eat better than my dogs, and they eat about just as well as us, and we're eating what they're producing. So that's kind of where the thought process is, right? Like you
It's
are
a
what you
circle.
eat.
What
it's a big circle.
what is organic feed though? Like what is the material?
There's different grains, corn, different
So-
like peas.
They basically just try to hit a
Like you
certain
guys could
protein.
grow all that yourself.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
You know, and eventually just give yourself organic
Yeah,
feed.
we're growing. We
That's-
plan to
yeah.
grow some stuff like
Sunflowers.
amaranth, sunflowers,
Yeah.
quinoa. I mean, the list goes on, like different types of like large grain cannabis.
Mhm.
We're actually growing twice as many like hemp plants this year, like because we had that nice pollination last year, and we have all that green room seeds. So we're just gonna grow twice as many green room plants. Do a nice little real dense. We're gonna do real dense. You know what I mean? Try to grow like fiber, and just try to
You
go on a stock material to try to use.
You guys talk about me moving my hands,
and
but
Gesticulating.
there's a lot of gesticulating going on when Red. He just went whoopush. That was a nice move. I liked it.
Good
Whoosh,
point.
whoopush.
Early this live dunk is so good, man.
Oh, thanks, dude. I've got some more coming.
Really exciting. I got an electric chipper, which I enjoy grinding.
That's cool.
No gas or anything involved with it. Don't have to put any greases. Well, I'm sure I could like lube it up with some vegetable oil or something. But, like I don't have to like, yeah. Just good old fashioned electricity works it, and it's kind of nice for the organic garden, right? We're gonna try to start farming out where we grow cannabis, so we can be out there a little more often, and we actually have a blank canvas, so to speak, in a rural area where we don't have to abide by so many laws that can prevent us from like running our chickens,
Hiding the chickens.
stupid stuff. And we do have the chickens, and we have a lot of tools to our advantage. So, small scale, we're going to start with like one tarp, and I'm going to utilize all of the information, all the education that I've taken over the years on no-till, and kind of start just from scratch. There's a ton of
That's
clean.
pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna see what we can do. We have to like clean up perimeter, and I'm gonna use a lot of that for compost building just to start. And then like our septic tank is gonna be tarped off first because it's just
Keep it warm, dude.
I mow it. I mow the septic tank right now, and it's just
I want to see you go for yearly the largest pumpkin contest.
I do too.
Big Macs.
Oh,
You need Big Macs.
dude.
Well, yeah. We
I want to have a clubhouse
Dude,
I'm
inside
in.
the pumpkin.
I'm in on this. I'm gonna start it tonight.
we've been doing our own Big Macs for like the last year's pumpkins that we grew were the year before Big Macs pumpkins. But a prize winning pumpkin seeds, dude, it's like cannabis seeds. It's like $100, $200, $400 for like 3 to 8 seeds.
What?
That's
You might get-
That's all
but
you
you only
need.
need
You only
one
need
because
one.
then you can harvest that at the end and get all the seeds.
you hope you have good germination rates
I
if
see
you're
the
getting
game.
3 seeds. You know what I mean?
Pumpkins pop though, and they're like huge.
I'm saying that's
Wow,
worth
okay,
$100
I'm so
for
quick.
a
Hey.
pumpkin the size of your car.
Yeah,
Don't say
Yeah.
Rex.
yeah, dude.
I'm
how
going.
much is,
If you're into
Cinderella,
pumpkins, that's the
Yeah.
route to go. Can you
I
feed
expect
pumpkin
you
and
to
pumpkin
have-
seed to the chickens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it
the
comes down
guts,
to
the
this.
guts
dude.
of a pumpkin?
Oh,
Yeah, they love it.
dude, they
How
love
much
Oh,
do
pumpkins.
pumpkins
They
go
love
for a
Perfect.
unit? man?
That's a
What's a unit of
whole
pumpkins
summer's
gonna cost?
or winter's worth of guts.
So the thing about
It's like a day's worth, but
I was
I'm
six-
talking about like a VW sized pumpkin.
yeah, I was
I mean, at that point, why not just make that the chicken coop then? Grow a pumpkin large enough to just
'Cause
house
it's-
the
dude,
Because
why don't we just
you
use it as a
could.
pop for
That could be their
Cinderella?
vacation home, but it's eventually going to
That's
rot.
where they winter.
They
That's
winter.
where they
They're
winter.
It's
They're
not
gonna eat their way
structurally
through it.
sound, OSHA approved. Nope. So
Yeah, eat
the
their way
coop.
out.
Have you seen the coop? It's nice. Yeah,
It's
I
Yeah.
saw it the
organic.
other day. Yeah. No, I like it.
You thought hempcrete was cool. Wait till you see this.
Man, I wish I kind of want to be able to make hempcrete and just make everything like projects around the house out of hempcrete instead of concrete.
What makes you think you can?
I don't know. I'm just saying I've never
How
looked
How many
into it.
projects are you doing that require
Save yourself.
concrete?
You just
I
mix
want
like
to make
the stuff
I want to
with,
make steps that go to my back door because people who know me will go my back door because they know I'm in the basement. And if you don't know me, you're going my front door. And I know I
yeah,
don't
if
know you.
If
And
you
then
know
you don't
baked
answer the front
well,
door.
you go to the back door.
Oh,
That's right.
buddy, smart.
Oh, smart.
I have a
That's
ring
twice
doorbell.
tonight,
I know baked well.
Better watch it.
How
Hey,
well
I
do you
wanna,
know
uh,
him?
What a burn, man! What a burn.
Now we
wanna
know.
thank all
His
you
mind is
guys.
always in the gutter.
I want to thank
It's
all
always
you
in
guys.
the
If it weren't for the
while I
gutter,
was-
mine would be homeless.
That's true.
Absolutely.
I just want to thank all you guys for the shout outs earlier while I was driving home. I appreciate it. The 4 different dab sequence and the radioactive and the Chernobyl and the poison punch and all that. I appreciate it, guys.
I didn't even
and then-
show them off.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity too, man. It's I was very pleased with how they came out. I try to stick to fresh frozen, so it was great to have an opportunity to run some fresh frozen for someone else and see that it was quality coming
Look at
in and
that,
quality
man.
going
Look at
out
that.
and yeah, man, juicy.
Yeah.
You can see I've started.
Show me the side of the jar.
But
please.
that's
Wait,
radioactive.
Bring it back up so we can see how much is in there. No, the other way. Turn the jar sideways. There we go.
Yeah,
Give us a
dude.
little idea.
I'm really glad you shared it
Fine.
with me. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I love it. That's why I moved here. I love sharing weed and being able to talk to people. And here's the Chernobyl. And I love the reviews that you guys give. That's the best part because my nose isn't always great.
Ooh,
Or my
Wow.
palate's
man.
not
What you
huge.
see on that one, man. I bet
This
you
is
that
Chernobyl. Straight Chernobyl. And
Really?
this is real good. So I like them both, but I honestly lean towards the radioactive because it's almost like a not a perfect storm because a perfect storm is 3 hurricanes, but it's a double perfect storm. So two.
Dude, the way you described it earlier is kind of the way I've been describing it to people the last couple of days as well. I didn't say, you know, it's like a 3-tier or however you describe it,
Yeah.
like the 3 levels or whatever,
Three
but it's like
phase.
it's so complex, man. There's
It
so
is.
many different terpene profiles, and it tastes like more than 2 flavors combined. You know what I mean? Like if I do a lemon lime or like a I don't know, just name them, you know, like the
Well,
lemon
that's-
lemon or something like that. Like it's, you know, generally you can kind of pick out the 2 strains that went into it. This feels like there's like 3-4 plus strains in it, you know.
So what do you think on it, for Girly? What would you express it as? How do you think?
In terms of the terpene profile, or
Yes.
the,
Yeah. What do you think on the flavors?
so I definitely get that candy lime that he kind of told me, you know, I haven't smoked Chernobyl before. I don't think I've ever had it before. And so when I talked to Baked about it, he kind of described it's kind of like a candy lime, you know what I mean? Like not more like that rindy, like actual fresh squeezed lime. It's more like that candy you get out of it. And then when I went to go label it, I was telling Red and Becca, one of the little tricks I have to labeling is I just look up, like, you know, maybe like, for example, radioactive. I look up like a radioactive sign, right? And I'm just like, all right, there's the yellow value that I'm going to use. This one, I looked up the terpene profile for Chernobyl, and a lot of it said it was a lime sherbet. So I went with the lime sherbet color on that. And I think that's where that kind of fake lime comes from, because it's not like lime skunk. It's different from that. You know, it's not like citrique. It's different from that. It's like a lime sherbet, like a, you know, something way sweeter, like totally different. But then you got that Durban in the mix, and that Durban comes through. I would say almost kind of almost front end, more middle, and then it finishes very heavy on the garlic, which I was expecting more berry to come through, but I think there's a lot.
See, so now I'm looking it up, and I remember it's Purple Punch, isn't it? On the
It's actually, so Poison Punch.
What's Poison?
It's Durban Poison across the Garlic Punch. Garlic Punch is GMO and
Primal.
Purple Punch.
Yes. No, Primal Punch, I think.
Oh, Primal.
And Primal
sure
Punch
Primal Punch,
has I think Purple Punch in it.
Primal Punch is
So Purple Punch is a real far background. So it's got Larry OG times Granddaddy Purple. Larry OG's OG Kush times Sour Diesel. So that's what my buddy was saying. He was saying front end that that lime, middle the Durban for sure, and then he said on the end he got like a lemon from the and he was saying it's from the Larry OG that's in it, but that would come from the punch side of it. But like it's definitely interesting that it's three phase.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely like complicated, which is fun.
It's complicated.
Yeah, a status. It's complicated.
You know, that's one of the great things about concentrates is that you can bring different factors in, and the way that it kind of marries together, it can be like a one-off process. You could chase it again, but for Girly, you know how some of these things are. You can get in the wheelhouse of it, but sometimes it ends up being a little bit different.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of it. You know, I've said for years, I don't really get the opportunity to breed really at all. So my kind of flavor concoctions come at the back end. It's on the processing side, and I have an opportunity to take 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, however many flavors I want, and create them at any different ratio I want. And I've said it over and over again, THC is THC. From plant to plant, you might have different ratios, but that is THC. The terpene profile is what's different. And then when I can start taking different terpene profiles and creating even more different terpene profiles out of that, and then putting in a concentrate form, you're going to get some wild effects out of it. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, it's my passion, man.
Well, speaking of a lot of fun and a passion, that brings us right up to the edge of the show. And you're going to have to come back through tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the late sesh to get even more robot music baked. Robot music.
Boop, 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 boop.